Please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Happy New Year and welcome in to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. It is January 2nd, 2023, a Monday. Week 17 is mostly wrapped up. We got the Bills and the Bengals tonight to help decide the rest of the Fantasy Football Championships. And we're here today to break down what happened this week and hang out a bit. What's up, JL?
What up? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here with you.
I'm happy to be here with you. January 2nd, 2023.
2023. I'm trying to get it out as many times as possible because in 2023, I am staying on top of the date and the day of the week. We are remembering.
What's today, Simon?
January 2nd, 2023. A Monday.
A Monday.
A Monday. We got it. And as long as I say it every day, I think I'll remember.
I totally forgot that today was the day that many people have off work. I thought today was the day that everybody went to work. Everyone went back to work.
You know, that day where everyone goes to work. I thought it was that day.
I thought it was that day, but turns out today is not that day. Everybody is sleeping.
Everybody's home from work, hanging out. No, they're up bright and early, hanging out with us. I'm positive of it. We got Tommy in the chat up early, saying it's time to kick off 2023 with Simon, Jail, and Coop, the fabulous three. Oi, hey, always happy New Year, boys. What's up, Tommy? Happy New Year. Welcome in. So I guess no Coop, and that is okay. On with the party. We'll get some Coop a little bit later. He just, beauty takes time, and he's taking that time to get beautiful, and then he'll be on here with us. John Luke, you got any fantasy championships coming down to tonight's game?
Yeah, I got a couple. I got two out of the three of my, actually all three of my championships, I believe I'm still alive in, but two out of the three I'm really I'm still projected to win here. One of them, it's going to be tough. It's going to be real tough. I have four left to play. I still have Josh Allen, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, and Tyler Bass left in this one league.
So your whole team.
My entire team pretty much, but they still have Stephon Diggs and Dawson Knox. I'm playing against and Tony Pollard, who's out, so locked in. So he's not playing. So just Stephon Diggs, just Dawson Knox. I'm playing against a lot of Stephon Diggs in these championships games, Simon. I don't know about you.
That's your favorite player.
I know. How about you? Are you still alive?
I am. I've got one two that I'm looking real good in that should be set. Like, unless the craziest thing that has happened in fantasy has happened. But the one that I'm struggling in, Jail, I'm up by 5.7 points going into tonight's game. We each have one player left. But I've got T. Higgins and he's got Joe Burrow. So there's a chance.
He's got T. Higgins.
No, I have T. Higgins.
And he has Joe Burrow.
And I'm up by 5.7 points. So it is definitely leaning in my opponent's favor in this matchup, but there's a chance. It's going to come down just to this game. And it should be a fun game. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for
trying to go to this game.
Night Football. And what happened?
I didn't.
Yeah. Where is it? It's in Cincinnati, right?
Yeah, it's in Cincinnati.
Man, and you love Skyline Chili.
I've never had it.
Theming. You could have started your whole week off with some vegetarian Skyline Chili on top of spaghetti noodles.
I don't get it. Everybody either tells me it's garbage or it's amazing, and I can't discern the difference without trying it myself.
I've never had it, and depending on who I'm talking to, I'm easily swayed to either side.
You just switch. I'm kind of the same way, I guess, because I'm like, I've never had it, so I don't know.
I always have a strong opinion, but it's because the people talking to me always have a strong opinion, and I just like buy into what they're saying. Like if I'm talking to someone, they're like, it is vile cinnamon tomato sauce. I'm like, yeah, that's disgusting.
It's sweet. It's got cinnamon in it.
And then if I'm talking to people and they're like, oh, it's so good, you got to try it, especially on a sandwich. I'm like, oh man, I got to get to Cincinnati and try Skyline Chili.
On a sandwich?
On a spaghetti?
On a spaghetti. Oh yeah, I've seen the spaghetti. Is it a sweet sauce? I guess
don't
we don't
know.
know.
I've
Neither
never
of us have
had
had it. Why am I asking you?
We got NKC in here saying, "Where's the other guy again?"
Yeah, he's gone.
He'll be back. He'll be back in about an hour. He'll be joining us. John
Kick
Lucas,
them into the sun.
there is usually 3 people on this show, NKC, but sometimes there's not, and that's right now. But Coop will be back. John Luke, it's that time of morning.
Yeehaw!
It's time for BYOB. Everybody watching, I hope you guys brought something to eat because we got everything else you need this morning. We got the stories, we got the topics. You guys are just responsible for bringing your own breakfast. Let us know what you're having this morning. John Luke, you got some breakfast?
I do. I got some juice. I had my bagel this morning, and I had some coffee.
Wow. That's a luxury breakfast at 7 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
You had to get up like a solid 40 minutes early to make sure that happened.
I woke up exactly 40 minutes before the show.
I know my timing. I didn't want to give you an extra minute or anything because every second of sleep counts.
I laid in bed until about 6:18. Yep.
NKC also saying hi. Welcome in, my friend.
What up, NKC? It's the Eagles loss. Yeah. Sorry about that.
John Luke, I wanted to kick us off with the story of the weekend, the fantasy story of the weekend. One of my favorite players who looked like maybe for the first time in his career wouldn't hit 1,000 yards. But no, a 207-yard game, 3 touchdown performance, 53.7 PPR fantasy points for Mike Evans in yesterday's game. They secured the division, and Mike Evans won a lot of people some fantasy football championships if they started him.
Dude, he looked so good. Those 3 touchdowns looked fantastic. They're just perfectly thrown, perfectly caught by Mike Evans. This is a Mike Evans game.
Why haven't they been doing that all year?
Beats me, buddy.
It was the same play. They did it over and over again this game. They should have just been doing that one all year long because it worked.
They should have. It worked. It worked really well.
No, this was wild. And then I saw a stat yesterday, Jail. Someone posted it on Reddit that in 2 of the last 3 years, Mike Evans has scored 40-plus PPR points in the championship week. Yesterday with that 207 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then in 2020, the same year Kamara went off, he had 10 catches for 181 yards and 2 touchdowns. So this is 2 of the past 3 years that Mike Evans has been a league winner in your championship game.
Dude, Mike Evans, I guess he's the guy you get for the fantasy playoffs. We didn't know that though. That's a new narrative now.
It is a new narrative. But it was just so happy to see him blow up yesterday. It felt like a Simon day for fantasy. Mike Evans had a good game. Amari Cooper had a good game. DJ Moore had a good game. Darren Waller had a pretty good game. I just had fun watching football yesterday from the players' perspective, like all my favorite players.
Yeah. I was watching as well. And the ETN, he's another one who had a good game. He was one that a lot of people were worried about, whether he was going to sit or not, but he had a good game.
He did have a good game. The Jaguars had a pretty good game.
They did, yeah.
And now it's all going to come down to this week for the Jacksonville Jaguars. If they can beat the Tennessee Titans in week 18, we're going to see them in the playoffs. But there's rumors, JL, I saw yesterday, that they're going to flex that game out of Sunday Night Football, the Jaguars-Titans game, which makes no sense to me. Absolutely 0 sense that they would flex that game out. It is a play-in game. It's basically the first round of the playoffs at this point. You know what I mean? Like, this is a play-in game to get into the playoffs. I don't care if it's the Jags versus the Titans and 18 of their starters are missing. You put the playoff play-in game in Sunday Night Football. You don't take it out of that spot.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think all of us are going to be watching that game very closely. If it has major playoff implications, they should not flex that out. I don't know what their criteria is for flexing them out, though.
I think it's not the Jaguars. I read a stat. I can't remember what it was, but the Jaguars haven't appeared on NBC Sunday Night Football in like 5 years or something preposterous like that.
That's
They're not
wild.
a
fan. NBC doesn't like them. Albert in here saying Jags Titans game is Saturday night.
That makes sense. That's better than Sunday night. I'll take it then. I'll stop my complaining then. Thanks, Albert.
Simon, did you see Jamal Williams? He said he doesn't care about the Packers players trashing the Lions. He just wants to go home and play Pokemon.
I'm with you, Jamal. Me too, man.
Wearing a Naruto headband in his post-game press conference, or like his post-game media interview.
I feel represented with Jamal Williams in the NFL. Like, I feel seen. Yeah. Like, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at him, I'm like, man, to all those little boys sitting home playing Pokemon like I was growing up.
Those
Jamal
kids
Williams
wearing the
is
Naruto headbands in middle school.
Exactly. The kid running down the hallway with his hands behind his back.
The classic run.
You know you had one. There was the Naruto kid. And the one at my middle school, he was badass. I love that dude. But sometimes those kids, they got it rough. Middle schoolers can be mean, and they're mean to them. But Jamal Williams up there on the NFL podium after a game where they dominated the Bears wearing his Naruto headband, saying he wants to go home and play Pokemon. Yeah, I just rushed for 122 yards, but I got to get home and catch some Pokemon, man.
Dude, I felt that yesterday. I felt that hard. I think Keith has got the clip for us.
TV.
Roll the clip.
You didn't hear about it?
I'm trying not to cuss. I don't care. I just want to play football and go home. You're holding me right now. I just want to go home and play Pokemon.
Go home and play Pokemon?
Yeah, Pokemon.
Yeah.
Don't do that. You can't disrespect Pokemon like that. Pokemon?
Pokemon.
You sound like
I got my
old.
nephew some Pokemon cards. They're kind of a big deal.
I don't know what cards you got on. They must have sucked because you calling them Pokemon. But it's fine. Never mind. I'm off topic. Come on. My bad.
They must have sucked.
If you're calling him Pokemon.
Jamal Williams just going ham.
He's like demanding on being one of my favorite players in the NFL. Like, I wasn't trying to make him one of my favorite players, but this offseason I was like, oh, he's funny.
He can't help
cool.
himself.
And then every single time I hear him speak, he moves up and up the rankings.
I love him. He's awesome.
Albert in here also saying, I'm guessing the Lions-Packers game is Sunday night. That's a pretty fair guess. That would make sense to throw in there. Aaron Rodgers putting something together at the end of the season here.
Yeah, that should be a good game as well.
Seems like we're lining up for Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. When everyone counted them out, it looked like maybe we're getting the playoffs without the two. They're going to sneak in there and then probably win a couple games because that's what they do. They're pretty good at winning a couple games in the playoffs.
It's going to come down to what? Packers, Lions. They're playing against each other, and so they have to beat whichever one beats the other is going to essentially contend for that playoff spot. And there's a third team in the mix. But I can't remember what that third team is.
The Jets?
No, Jets have been eliminated.
Jets have been eliminated. The Seahawks are the other team in the mix.
Seahawks are the other team in the mix, and whether they win or lose also has implications here. It's kind of crazy.
Right. It's going to come down to a couple games this weekend. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Week 18, still something to play for a bunch of these teams.
But the Jets, they are knocked out. Ari Meyerhoff tweeted out, Jets have been eliminated from playoff contention, extending their league
and they're in the AFC
playoff drought to 12 years. Sorry, Jets fans.
Jets fans, Keith, other Jets fans out there, it was a very good season in which your quarterback for most of the year was Zach Wilson pouting, Mike MF and White, or Joe Flacco. Robert Saleh looks like the real deal, and this offense looks 1,000 times better than any Jets offense I remember from the past couple of years. So I was surprised. There was the whole offseason narrative, this Jets team is a new team. They're a good team. You know what? I think they were a good team. They're a pretty good team. They still got some holes to figure out. They got to figure out that QB position, but I was surprised by how good the Jets were this year.
Yeah, no, they were fantastic. They overperformed on our expectations here. And I expect a very, very bright future for these Jets going forward. Who do you think is the starting QB next year, Simon?
Derek Carr.
Derek MF and Carr. Whoever's the quarterback for the Jets gets the MF and middle name.
They got to earn that, JL. That's given. Or no, that is earned, not given. I was about to say, no, that is given, not earned, JL. And they haven't given it to him yet.
No, they haven't.
Also, Keith, they're saying this is the last thing Jets fans want.
Is Derek Carr?
Or is to be condescendingly told you had such a great season right after you get knocked out of the playoffs.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it was that one. It was being consoled. Yeah, it was the condescending consolation towards Jets fans. That, oh, you had such a good year, though.
You did it, buddy. You did it.
You really did, though. And these two New York teams, I think, are going to be good for a little while with Dable and Saleh at the helm. It seems like both the head coaching hires there were slam dunk hires of sorts. And maybe the Giants have their quarterback figured out with Daniel Jones. It looks like they want to keep him around, but the Jets they just got to figure that quarterback position out. That defense has been pretty solid all year.
Yeah.
And Tommy said Carr to the Jets. I'm with you, Tommy. I'm with you. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think we could see it.
Yeah. He's with you. Simon, last week we talked about Jair Alexander talking that smack to Justin Jefferson, saying that it was a fluke, that they got really good corners on this Green Bay Packers defense. He backed it up. Justin Jefferson, he only was one catch for 15 yards on 5 targets. Pretty impressive.
Not good, Bob. Not good for Justin Jefferson. But Jair Alexander, yeah, we were saying maybe temper your smack talk. Like just temper your smack talk a little bit. Let it happen on the field. But this outcome, this makes it worth it, right? Like if you're gonna talk that kind of smack, you got to play like this.
Yeah, I'm with you. How old is Jair Alexander?
He's pretty young. He's pretty young as well, right?
He is 25.
Pretty young.
That's pretty young. He's got some good years ahead of him.
Man, I don't like when we're talking about all these players. And like every player I look up except for kickers, and Tom Brady is younger than I am.
Yeah. You got some more players like DeAndre Hopkins. He's older than you.
There's a couple. See, but we got to point out, you got to think about the ones. On average, if you just pluck an NFL player out of the NFL and Google their age, they're younger than us.
Yeah. Christian McCaffrey, younger.
John Luke, did you watch the college football playoff semifinals this weekend?
I watched a little bit of it, but I missed a lot of it.
TCU beat Michigan. Sorry, all you Michigan fans. I feel like a lot of people were counting TCU out of this. And then they came in and put the kibosh on Michigan. Michigan tried to fight back in the second half, but TCU is not going to be playing Georgia in the national championship. And Ohio State, Jail, I don't know if you saw this. They missed a field goal that would have won them the game in the closing seconds, and it missed at midnight on New Year's.
No way.
So like right at midnight, they kick the field goal, miss it. Now there's a little bit of time left for Georgia to get the ball back, but basically the game was decided at midnight on New Year's as the Buckeyes missed a field goal.
Brutal.
But what I wanted to talk about was there's a timeout that people are saying is the best timeout ever used in college football history by Kirby Smart in that game for the Georgia Bulldogs. And I was reading about it and was like, okay, how good can it have been? And then I went back and watched the replay, and I kind of they talked about it on the broadcast, but I missed how great of a timeout it was. So the Buckeyes are lined up for a punt, and then right before they snap the ball, literally milliseconds, you see Kirby Smart sprint over to the referee, or you don't see it. What you see is you see the ball direct snapped, not to the punter, and they run and get the first down. But then a ref comes running out to the middle, and right before the play had started, Kirby Smart called a timeout. Apparently somebody in the booth, based on the formation they saw from Ohio State, knew that a fake was coming on 4th and 1. In literal milliseconds before the snap, Kirby Smart sprints over, calls timeout, and stops the fake from happening. And they would have converted. They did convert because it was so close to it that Ohio State, in fact, ran the play. None of the players had heard the timeout yet whenever
And so what'd they do after the timeout?
punted.
Dang, that is a good play. They converted and everything. That's wild.
But they got that. They got it done. Just an impactful timeout right there. Truly changing the course of the game.
Oh, that's awesome.
You don't often see a timeout with that much power. And whoever's noticed it, whether it was Kirby or someone up in the booth looking down at the field, huge props to them. Because that was game changing right there in a 42-41 game.
Albert in here said, did you guys see the Falcons tweet about that kick? I did not. Did you?
Throw it in here. No, I haven't seen a Falcons tweet in 100 years.
100 years.
Now Tommy said frogs versus dogs for the natty.
Frogs versus dogs.
My dad called me and goes, "What the hell is a TCU?"
He had no idea.
No, I said, it's the Texas Christian University. He goes, they're the horny frogs or something? I was like, yeah, they're the horny frogs or something. It's pretty close.
That is so funny.
Yeah, and Keith coming in here saying the game also ended exactly at midnight. Yeah. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, except for Ohio State fans.
There was a message from my dad. I wish I could find it, JL. I keep losing the text message, but my dad texted to like the family group message. Here it is. To a family group message with my Ohio State relatives in the group message. My dad says, well, I wish I could say I'm sorry, but I'm happy Georgia won. Happy New Year's, everyone. Just so matter of fact to all of my Ohio State fan relatives, just sends that moments after, like 3 minutes after they lost in the college football playoffs.
Why is your dad happy? I thought he didn't like football.
It's growing on him. It's growing on him. You like football long enough, your dad starts liking it. But more, he was watching that game, and our Ohio State relatives were sending text messages before, so he was just letting them know.
That's hilarious.
Dennis in here said, sup, boys? I lost in fantasy. How about you two guys? How'd you do in your final games? I got two in the bag. One that's going to be a fight tonight, up by 5.7, but they've got Burrow and I've got Higgins. So hopefully something crazy happens, Dennis, but probably going to lose that one. What about you, J.O.?
I got one that's, well, none of them are fully closed. And so I'm not counting a single win until the game is over tonight. But it is looking up in 2 of my 3 leagues that I have the championship for. One of them, it's not looking so good. I'm down by like 60 points, 70 points. And I still have many players left to play. I have like 4 players left to play in that league, but 70 points is a lot. So we will see. I think sleepers give me like a 20% chance in that league. The other 2 leagues, I'm looking good. I'm like mostly have one in the bag, and the other one I'm pretty much got in the bag.
Killed it. Hopefully we got some champs in here tomorrow. Everybody listening, if you're winning some championships, make sure you tell us what you need tonight, and then come back tomorrow and celebrate those victories. Yeah, we need that Monday night sweat. Yeehaw! What a game for a Monday night sweat. I'm so happy that I have something that comes down to tonight, though.
I think a lot of championships are going to come down tonight, because think of the 2 teams, right? Like, it's unlikely you're probably in the championship without a Bill or a Bengal.
A Bill or a Bengal. Never show up to the finals without a Bill or a Bengal.
No, you need a Bill or a Bengal.
The number 1 rule of being in the finals. Always bring your Bill and Bengal. At the very least, your Bill or your Bengal, but you never want to be caught without a Bill or a Bengal. In my other league, jail, the one that I feel like I have it pretty locked up in, but maybe I'm getting a little too confident. I'm up by 17 points. I have Josh Allen. Or I'm down. No, I'm down by 13 points. I can't do math, but I have Josh Allen. So I'm down by 13. I just need 13 points from Josh Allen to win the
That's doable. They don't have anyone playing? They didn't bring a Bill or a Bengal?
They are caught without a Bill or a Bengal.
Oh, wow. That's disappointing for them.
They're stuck sitting there without a Bill or a Bengal, and this is the league I went 7-7 in, the Dynasty League, and they could pull the championship out. We'll see. And Albert said, I'm down by 26 with Diggs and Higgins left. Well, I like your odds, Albert. I like your odds. You could get
it's not a given, but it's doable.
Yeah, it is not guaranteed, because you could get 11 and 11 from each of those guys. That would be totally within their range of outcomes. But I like it, Albert. If you get one of them blowing up, then you got this in the bag.
Simon, did you see Poe is back? He makes his return.
No, I missed that. Poe is back?
Poe is back, yeah.
I've been so worried about him.
He comes out in a wheelchair and a cast on his foot. Oh. He's a mascot. He's got a cast on his foot, and then he just gets out of the wheelchair and stands up and starts going ham. What a stupid stunt. What a stupid ass stunt.
What's an ass stunt?
He did it. He's a mascot.
That's incredible. I like the theatrics of it, though. I feel like the Ravens don't get credit for how theatrical of a franchise they are, though.
They're very theatrical.
Like, they highlighted the marching band yesterday, which I was happy to see a little bit, because the number of Ravens games I've watched where they don't highlight the fact that you guys have a marching band in the stadium is that way too high. Yeah, it's unique. That is unique for the Ravens. I don't think everybody has like a marching band, unless they just really do a poor job of highlighting it for every team. But I've known that about the Ravens, and they never really highlight it. And then they throw it up on the screen yesterday. I'm like, thank God. You got the Edward Allan Poe inspired team. Of course it's theatrical. Play it up.
Could be wrong. I'm recalling a story somebody told me about that marching band, about how that band goes back to the Colts. And in the middle of the night, when the Colts got up and left for Indianapolis, the band was like told ahead of time. And they went and they stole all of like their gear or something. I'm like, I know there's a story here, and I'm gonna have to go and find it because
you're remembering
very interesting.
The remnants of a story.
The remnants of a story, and I can't remember where it came from. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Albert wants to know, what do you guys think of the Commanders' new mascot? Hogs up, baby. That's what I think of the Commanders' new mascot. You see Major Tuddy, JL?
I don't think I have.
Google him. Type in Major Tuddy, Tuddy, or you can just type in Commanders' new mascot.
That's the name they gave him?
Yeah.
Oh,
Major
Lord.
Tuddy. Hogs up, am I right?
Hogs up. I'm not seeing it. I'm just seeing pictures of fans.
Really?
Stand by.
Well, maybe type in Commanders' new mascot and it'll come up.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Why would they do that?
Look at the shape of the belly that they got on this pig. That is a pot belly pig for sure.
Oh, my God. This is terrible. Why do they make such bad decisions?
The problem is it's a little bit too human while clearly being a pig. Like that's the one problem with it is like it is so human, but is definitely a pig that it looks like either really be a pig or really be a guy. Don't be a pig guy.
Don't be a pig guy. Oh God, this is terrible. This little hype video they have.
Tommy said, let's get him on the show. Yeah, let's get Major Tuddy up here. I don't think he'd ever come back.
Ew.
There's a little bit of a snore aspect to it. And Tommy said needs a Speedo. Yeah, I'm not sure I want to see that body in a Speedo. I would pass on that one.
Most of the bodies you don't want to see are the ones you end up seeing in a Speedo.
You're right. Mine.
Like mine. Why are you wearing a Speedo, bro?
I don't know. It's comfortable. Wait, I have to tell an unfortunate story of clothing, JL. So for Christmas, I received a nightgown from my mother for Christmas. And I don't know if you've ever worn a nightgown, but highly recommend. Phenomenal. So free to be wearing that at night, drifting around. Nightgowns, A+. But so for New Year's Eve, we leave San Antonio because fireworks are crazy. We were up at a friend's house, low-key in Austin, just a couple of us hanging out. And we're playing this game where we're playing Jenga with the pieces, but they've all got little like things written on them that you have to do, right? Like a bunch of silly little things like stand on the table till the next turn, blah, 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 blah. And so like in the middle of the game, it's getting late, and we're about to go to bed. So I'm like, I'm going to go put my pajamas on. I throw my nightgown on. And then I get back to the table and I sit down and I pull a Jenga piece out. It's my turn. And immediately after changing into a singular article of clothing, the piece says, remove one article of clothing.
Oh no.
And all I'm wearing is my nightgown and the underpants underneath. And I'm just sitting there in like this moment of panic. Like, I'm not getting in my underpants. Like, I don't know what to do here. I'm not just going to I'm already the one wearing a dress. I'm not going to then just like take the dress off and bare my underoos to the entire room. It was only like
underoos.
But there was a creative solution found. The underoos can come off and you can just go full Scrooge McDuck for the rest of that Jenga game. So that's what we did.
That's what you did. I like that.
That's what we made it to. And you know what? Nightgown's even better that way. Highly recommend that nightgown. No underoos combo. It's top tier. And Tommy said, wait, like an Ebenezer Scrooge nightgown? Exactly like an Ebenezer Scrooge nightgown. No cap, though. Unless a baseball cap counts, because I'm almost always wearing one of those.
Another interesting story, Simon, that came out of this weekend was, well, first of all, I'm pretty sure I found the story about the Ravens marching band here, but I'm not entirely sure. But an interesting stat that came out from ESPN was the Rams officially have the most losses by a defending champ in NFL history.
Yikes.
Yeah.
They're paying the tax. They really sold that team to win a Super Bowl, right? They sold their future. They sold the draft picks. They manipulated the salary cap, and now this is what happens. It's not looking great. And
Not
add
looking
on
great.
top of that all of the injuries they've had as well. Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford. Like, it's looking pretty rough for them. I was talking to Joey about it a little bit yesterday night on the FanDuel show, JL. Do you think Matthew Stafford retires, or do you think he's coming back? This is a two-part question, so I'm going to start with the Stafford side.
I think he comes back.
So you think he comes back. Then what do you think happens with Baker Mayfield? Because my read on it is that Baker Mayfield and Sean McVay do have some sort of connection. Like, Baker enjoys playing for Sean McVay, it looks like, because, I don't know, we're seeing some of the best Baker play we've seen since 2 years ago in Cleveland when he was looking all right up there.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I don't know. I don't know what happens. I think they're going to have to either trade him. I don't think that they bench Matthew Stafford for Baker Mayfield. And I don't think that Baker Mayfield's okay being the backup.
See, I think in most cases you're right, but I'm looking at this situation not as him accepting a backup role, but as him accepting almost like an heir apparent type role to Matthew Stafford under Sean McVay. Like, to be able to play under Sean McVay, a coach that it seems like he respects and connects with, and learn from a potential Hall of Famer like Matthew Stafford for a year, and then come in as the Rams starting quarterback. Like, I think that's one of the few scenarios I could see Baker Mayfield accepting a backup job.
Yeah, I could see it. I would be shocked by that.
No, neither would I. I think that's the most likely outcome for me. And for Baker, it seems like potentially the best outcome. I like him on this team. I like him under Sean McVay.
Yeah.
Albert wants to know, what do we think about Akers for next season? Joe, what do you think about Akers for next season?
I think they trade him. I think that's the most likely outcome, is they trade him away. I think this narrative that I set out from when we first started seeing Cam Akers get used more is coming to fruition here. What do you think, Simon?
I'm not as confident that they trade him, but I am also not confident that he'll be the lone lead back in this offense going into next year. Other players are going to get healthy, and they're definitely going to add somebody in free agency or through the draft. I don't think they want to just roll with Akers as the guy. So Akers will be possibly a role player at the running back position next year, but I don't think we're going to see like workhorse levels of workload for Akers next season. They're going to add other pieces.
Yep.
They're going to add other pieces. Jill, Brock Purdy won again. He has now won his first 4 NFL starts, becoming only the 5th rookie quarterback to ever do this. The other 4 were Phil Simms in 1979, winning 4 games. Virgil Carter in 1968, winning 4 games. Mike Krzyzewski in 1968, winning 6 games. And then Ben Roethlisberger in 2004, winning his first 13 starts as a rookie quarterback. But Brock Purdy, one of only 5 quarterbacks ever to come in as a rookie and win their first 4 starts.
Pretty good. I mean, definitely few quarterbacks come into a situation that Brock Purdy has, where the strength of schedule is very easy for him, and system is set up for him to succeed. But he is also, we can't take all the credit away from him. It is not super easy to do what he's doing. He has played fantastically. So all props to Brock Purdy.
100%. No, he's looked pretty good. And Joe, I've heard some rookie of the year talks start including Brock Purdy, even though he hasn't played. And we do know it is often a quarterback's award to win if there's a quarterback that's playing well. Do you buy into it at all that Brock Purdy is in actual contention
to take over for Trey Lance, you said?
No, rookie of the year.
A rookie of the year.
It's often a quarterback award. And Brock Purdy, even though he started late in the season, do you think he's truly up there? Garrett Wilson is the odds-on favorite to win it at this point.
Yeah, I think it's Garrett Wilson's award. I don't think Brock Purdy gets it, just because I don't think he played enough.
Yeah, maybe if he would have started at the beginning of the year. But yeah, I think those talks are a little bit ridiculous, and I think it would be ridiculous if he won. If Brock Purdy comes in, he's only started 4 games. It'll be 5 games after he starts next week. You can't give rookie of the year to a guy who started 5 games, right? Unless they were the best performances you've ever seen out of a rookie player in their life.
Yeah, you can't. He's played very well, and maybe if this award extended into the postseason and we saw a solid postseason run from Brock Purdy, then go for it. But He's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna win it. I think it's Garrett Wilson's award. Do you think there's any dark horses in there that might win it?
Nah.
Unexpected players.
Damian Pierce was probably in contention for a while there, but he's played himself out of contention. And then he got injured on top of that, which sucks. Breece Hall probably would have been in contention and then got injured. Chris Olave was looking great at the beginning of the year, but has been so disappointing down the back stretch. So I don't think you can give it to him. Kenneth Walker got injured, missed quite a bit of time. So I don't think it's going his way either. So it's Garrett Wilson. I think it's Garrett Wilson as the consistent one. I mean, Christian Watson would probably be the next name that you would consider, right? He came on late and he's been good for fantasy. He's been good in the NFL. But I think it's Garrett Wilson's.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Albertson, Ken Walker. Unfortunately, I think that injury is going to prevent him from getting it. Kenny.
Tommy in the chat said, wait, like an Ebenezer Scrooge nightgown? Do you have a cap as well?
We have read that and both reacted to it.
We did?
We did. We were there.
I didn't hear a cap part. That's pretty cool.
I said, no, I do not have a cap.
Dang.
Not yet. That's next Christmas, Tommy. I can't do the full evolution in 1 year. Gabriel said 49ers.
Woo!
What do you think about that, JL?
I think, woo!
Albert said Kenny Smallhands Pickett for rookie of the year. Nah.
Nah.
No, I don't think you're going to see him as rookie of the year.
Did you see this celebration by Kayvon Thibodeau, Simon? Nick Foles was on the ground after getting sacked, just like convulsing. And then Kayvon Thibodeau was laying next to him doing the snowman.
Not a good look, Kayvon Thibodeau.
Oh, no. You think he's going to get fined for that?
Yeah, 1,000%. And I see people like going all in on Kayvon Thibodeau and calling him like a trash human and all this stuff. I think we should give him the benefit of the doubt that he didn't know Nick Foles is on the ground next to him convulsing with the helmet on. You can't see, like, he just thought he sacked the guy. He's going to lay down next to him. But he did also go onto the sideline to make like a sleeping hand symbol, like he put Nick Foles to sleep. So I don't know, man. Not a good look. Just have some situational awareness whenever a player goes down. Like, check and make sure they're not convulsing on the ground, that they're not concussed. Like, I'm all about showboating and having some fun, but you got to make sure the player's okay first. Yeah. It's like when your friend falls, you make sure their arm's not broken and then you laugh at them.
Yeah,
like,
or
and
you
it
laugh
doesn't
while you check.
It doesn't even take long. You just like, you're good. Like, it just takes like 1 second to check.
Right. Charles in here said, good old Rocky Top.
Boo.
Good morning, guys. Get out of here, Charles. So week 18 league. Have a lot of guys who may sit. CMC Kittle. Should I add Mason Madison? Not a Cook owner. Thanks. What do you think, Simon?
Well, first I got to comment on that good old Rocky Top. Good win. Nice job. Congratulations. But also Clemson, that was unbelievable, the statistics I saw coming out of that game, JL. They had like over 450 yards of offense and scored 14 points. Yeah. They had an absurd, like, the number of first downs they got in that game was the most since like 2000 that a team had scored while scoring 14 or fewer points. And there was only like 2 other teams in that time period that had done so. They were moving the ball, but Tennessee, bend don't break, won that game. The defense got it done for them.
Our Mr. Potter got it done for him too.
Yeah. What happened to Potter?
I don't know.
Dude's been on fire his entire career. Like, he's been locked and loaded.
He had a stint as a freshman where he was just getting reamed by Dabo because he couldn't hit kicks. And Dabo was just sitting there. I felt so bad watching that. Dabo was just sitting there screaming at him when he was a freshman. And then he's been good since then. It
wasn't just him missing kicks, Jail. In the ACC championship game, in a close game against North Carolina, he gets snapped. I'm pretty sure he was the guy who gets snapped the ball, and he decides, nah, I'm going for it. And just takes off. Like, I'm pretty sure he was out there to punt the ball, and he takes off in that game. You don't think that was him? That was a different punter? I was going to say, I remember him getting yelled at to the ends of the earth.
I could be wrong. I do remember that, Simon, whenever that play happened.
It was his hero moment. Like, oh, this is it. I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, screw the coaches.
Dabo got in trouble for that, too, because it cuts him on the sideline. He's, like, grabbing him by the collar, just, like, screaming in his face on the sideline. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Yeah, 100%. Unless he got it. And then I would yell at him for a second after celebrating.
That's hilarious.
But the question in here was, should I add Madison, not a Cook manager? Yeah, I think you can add Madison. He's probably going to get significant playing time this upcoming week. I'd add him and probably start him. What about you, John Luke?
Yeah, I'm with you.
And Charles said, did you see the plane that said, enjoy the Orange Bowl, Gamecocks? Yeah, maybe they should have focused on winning their bowl game instead of trash talking Clemson and Tennessee. Getting knocked out by Notre Dame. That probably would have felt better to win that one than to
Notre Dame. I'll take a loss from the Volunteers than to Notre Dame any day. Sorry, Pat.
I mean, we also got one to Notre Dame this season, so
I know. I'm saying I'll take a Volunteers loss over that one.
Absolutely. Yesterday, Austin Eckler passed LaDainian Tomlinson for the most receptions by a running back in a single season in Chargers history. If you pass LaDainian Tomlinson in any running back related statistic, that means you're a very good player.
Yeah.
LT was wild in his time, and now Austin Eckler in conversations, at least statistically, reaching some of his records for the Chargers franchise.
Impressive. It's impressive. Yeah, Austin Eckler, man, I whiffed on him in fantasy, man. Remember when I traded Austin Eckler for Tevin Coleman? That one hurts.
Oh, God. You were so in on Tevin Coleman.
So in. And Tommy in the chat said, wait, like an Ebenezer Scrooge nightgown? Do you have a cap as well?
I do have a cap as well. Yeah, I got a cap for Christmas, but no nightgown, actually. So it's just the cap. And so it's a little uncomfortable when I change into that when we have company.
Yep.
Hogs out, baby.
Hogs out. Hogs up, hogs out.
And a candelabra. Yeah, how else do you light your home at night? It's crazy. You guys just walk around in the dark?
No, you need your candelabra.
You have to have your your nightside candelabra.
Candelabra.
That's what I'm going to name my first daughter. Candelabra.
Candelabra Gudeveld.
Candelabra Gudeveld.
Oh man, Giants. Daniel Jones.
Giants.
Hey, the Giants. Daniel, you mentioned Daniel Jones earlier on in this show, Simon. You think they stick with him because he left this game to a standing ovation? Giants in the playoffs, making the playoffs for the first time since 2016. Giants fans
he'll get booed the next interception he throws. That Giants fan base is like the Michael Scott vasectomy gif, so bad. Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. That is, I'm sure they're happy with him today. But the second he has a game where he throws 2 picks, they're going to be booing him and saying, "What the hell is wrong with this franchise? Why did they get a new quarterback in here?" I'm happy to see it. And the rumors are, or the reports are. Not rumors. The reports are that they put a multi-year deal in front of Daniel Jones, and they want to get a multi-year done with him and Saquon Barkley before next season. So it looks like they want to move forward with Daniel Jones as their quarterback. And when you look around the league, I mean, yeah, they could try to get Jimmy G. They could try to get Derek Carr. And those would probably be marginal upgrades. But you got the age with Daniel Jones, and if you think he can develop, then you probably stick with the dude. And Brian Daboll is the guy that was there when they developed Josh Allen into the quarterback that he is. And Daniel Jones has similar traits. He's not Josh Allen, but he's got similar traits to Josh Allen. Jones. So he's Daniel Jones. Yeah, it's a different name entirely, different person entirely.
Totally different.
Totally different guy, different team, different state, different parents. But we could maybe be seeing some of the same situation where Daboll's throwing it together, getting the most out of his quarterback, and they think they can rock with them and still win some championships.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if they bring back Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley next year. I'd be interested to see what they do in the draft, because that does open them up. They don't have to go and take a quarterback, right? They have
wide
a quarterback
receivers.
there.
They need to add a
Let
real wide receiver to this mix. Yeah, not Isaiah Hodgins isn't a real wide receiver, or Darius Slayton's not a real wide receiver, but a true wide receiver one talent onto this team is needed.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I don't know who it's going to be in free agency. Juju Smith-Schuster, Alan Lazard.
God, please no.
Like, those are the names. Just draft someone. Let them develop. Take the top receiver. Use your number 1 draft pick, or your top draft pick, your first-round draft pick on a receiver this year.
Yeah.
Albert in here saying, I don't think the Niners starters will sit next week because they still have a shot at the number 1 seed. I'm with you. If you got a shot at it, you play. That one bye is a big deal in the playoffs. Now, there's only one per conference. You just get one. So if you've got a shot at it, you take it and you run with it.
Yeah, you got to.
And JL, the Eagles-Cowboys division, the NFC East has not been decided yet. There's still games to be played. It was 2 weeks ago. It was, well, the Cowboys would have to win all 3 games and the Eagles would have to lose all 3 games, right? But we're sitting there going like, not like surely like the Eagles will win a game or the Cowboys will lose a game. The Eagles lost to the Saints yesterday, 20-10. And now it's 2 losses in a row for the Eagles, 2 wins in a row for the Cowboys. They got one more game next week. I believe the Cowboys are playing the Commanders and the Eagles are playing the Giants. If the Giants can beat the Eagles, Cowboys can take care of the Commanders. All of a sudden, the Cowboys win that division.
That's nice. That is nice. This is pretty crazy. The NFC East is a wild division. You think the Cowboys are gonna usurp the Eagles here?
They'll do their part. The Cowboys will win next week, but I think the Eagles get it done against the Giants and secure that top seed.
Yeah, that's the rub here is the Eagles against the Giants. You're right.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys will get it done against the Commanders, especially with the division on the line to play for. Are those games at the same time next week? Oh, times are TBD, so they probably will be. They'll probably have them going on at the same time. But I think the Eagles get it done. Get that division title locked up. It's just wild to me that this Eagles team that has been so dominant all year, like they've clearly seemed like the 1 seed from a record perspective, is now sitting here potentially not even winning their own division. They're locked in the playoffs, but it just seemed like it was a foregone conclusion that they would win this division about halfway through the season.
Ain't nothing a foregone conclusion in this league.
Unless it is like the Buccaneers clinched their division. That's a foregone conclusion. They won it. Yes. Next week doesn't matter. Yeah, it's not a foregone conclusion until it is. That's where the
until it is. Yeah. Simon Stidham did he had a pretty decent game.
What was that?
Stidham,
yeah, Jibbit did had a pretty good game.
Oh, I'm struggling more.
I wonder who we're talking about.
Jarrett Stidham.
Jarrett
Stidham, quarterback for the Las Vegas, I almost said Oakland Raiders. He had a pretty good game this weekend.
Yeah.
Had a pretty good game this weekend. Derek Carr said he has no plans to retire after the Raiders benching. He believes his best football is ahead of him, according to Ian Rapoport. Rap sheet.
Derek Carr's gone. He'll be on another team and he'll be the starter on another team. He's definitely one of the top 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. He's probably one of the top 16 quarterbacks in the NFL. He'll find himself a starting job.
How old is he?
31. Is he 33?
That was my guess.
My guess is 31.
31. 31 is correct. You little butthole.
He just looked 31. I could see it in his eyes.
That's pretty young for a quarterback.
Yeah, he's got some years ahead of him. He's not wrong when he says that. And Jarrett Stidham, great start. But I don't think this is the future of the Raiders franchise either, JL.
Jarrett Stidham.
And shout out to everybody who had the cojones to plug Jarrett Stidham in your championship week. And if it was a desperation move and not cojones, lie and say it was cojones. Say you knew Jarrett Stidham was going to blow up because he absolutely killed it.
One of my dynasty leagues, I thought about getting him, but my opponent did get him, but did not start him. Thank goodness.
Just some defensive maneuvering or a backup plan for them.
I think so because I had an issue with Tua. I had Tua was my QB2 and he was out. And then if you remember, I brought it up last week. Gardner Minshew was also going to be out because Jalen Hurts was expected to come back and play this past week. But he didn't. He didn't end up playing this past week. And so Gardner Minshew at the last end of the week, I got some good news that Gardner Minshew was going to be playing. So I could throw him in my super flex spot. My opponent had Kirk Cousins in there as his QB2, who not so good, 2.9 points. Gardner Minshew didn't do great either, but.
You said who? Didn't do so well.
Didn't do so well, huh? Oh, Greek Yo Kirk.
Kirk. And Albert said, how many of you guys benched Devontae Adams yesterday? No.
Not I.
The one league I have him in, Albert, luckily, my next best wide receiver on my bench was Marquez Valdez-Scantling. So, like, there was no question that I was starting Devontae Adams. I'm lucky I wasn't sitting there staring down like Terry McLaurin or a DJ Moore. And the reason I wasn't is because they were already in my lineup. But I'm saying, like, one of those caliber of players, if you would have threw one of them on the bench, I might have asked some questions.
Yeah.
Charles asking, with the Eagles losing, do you think the Cowboys will play their starters this week? I have Dak. Absolutely, the Cowboys will play their starters. Unless the Eagles game, for some reason, happens before the Cowboys game and the Eagles win that game before the Cowboys game. That being said, I think the games will happen at the same time. The NFL generally puts those games on, the games where the outcomes affect each other, on at the same time. Whenever they're doing this last week scheduling, it's why they leave the times up in the air. You'll get Dak this weekend. You'll get to play him.
Yeah.
Guys, coming up, we are going to do a Sunday Night Football recap, talk a bit about this Ravens-Steelers game. I know JL's looking forward to that. We're going to play some Fantasy Detective, and then we're going to make some predictions for Monday Night Football and break down all of Week 17's games. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
The Baltimore Ravens will win the AFC North 2023, baby.
Sophomore quarterback Cade Klubnik of the Clemson Tigers will come out and win the Heisman, leading Clemson to another national championship.
It's been a difficult time here in Boston for us Boston sports fans. We haven't had a parade in a couple years, you know? So I think it's time for the Boston Bruins to bring it home.
I think the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes will win the Super Bowl.
I think the New York Mets are going to win the World Series in 2023.
People will remember just how good Shohei Ohtani is. Elite as a hitter, elite as a pitcher. He will win the MVP award like he should have in 2022.
I will go with a Super Bowl prediction. Give me San Francisco against Buffalo.
I think in 2023 is going to be the year of Luis Robert. That guy's uber talented. He had a very old school coach who I don't think he clicked with. He was hurt a lot. I don't know if he's going to go Judge. I think maybe he'll go Yordan Alvarez, but I think Luis Robert is going to be the guy next year.
The Boston Celtics will win the NBA championship in 2023.
The NBA to me is wide open this year. There are a few teams that can win the championship, but I am going to go with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Luka Doncic, like he deserves it, should win MVP in 2023.
UGA is inviting everybody to the Bulldog Invitational, and they're going to get a three-peat.
Tom Brady will not retire.
I think we're going to roll back to 1969, where one of the New York teams, whether it's Mets or Jets, wins a championship.
I am going to make a ton of money in 2023. That is my sports prediction.
I'm going to say the New York Metropolitans will make it to at least the NLCS.
2023, it will be Chase Dollander from the Tennessee Volunteers being the #1 overall pick to the Pittsburgh Pirates.
The Baylor Bears will cut down the Nets in early April and win the NCAA tournament.
Kyle McCord wins the Heisman for the Ohio State Buckeyes as he takes them through an undefeated season into the playoffs and wins a national championship.
A healthy Kawhi Leonard and Paul George lead the way as the Clippers make it to the NBA Finals.
Bijan Robinson will be the runaway #1 overall running back in fantasy football.
The Los Angeles Lakers come out of the grave and make the playoffs and actually win in the first round.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show on January 2nd, 2023, a Monday morning. We're kicking off the week, hanging out, talking some ball, and answering any of your questions that you got. So if you guys got some questions, throw them in the chat, fantasy or not fantasy related. We're happy to answer them. It's
That's what we're here for.
It's almost officially Dynasty season, JL.
I love Dynasty season. It's my favorite time of year.
Favorite time of year? My favorite time of year is when Dynasty season's ending. My second favorite is when it's starting.
What does that mean?
Whenever we get into like fantasy football's back, you know what I mean? Whenever redraft starts mattering again, whenever we start talking about these drafts, whenever everyone gets back in there, because sometimes it gets lonely, all these mock drafts in the off season, and then everyone comes back to play in like August. That's when everyone starts jumping back in again. That's the best time of the year.
That's fair. I do love that time too.
Fantasy Football Expo.
We've been here the whole time.
We've been here the whole time. My birthday, the Expo, fantasy football kicking back up into gear.
Kind of is. Your birthday kind of is the beginning of that shift. You're right. You're absolutely right.
It is. I get to celebrate my birthday at the Expo. It's been 2 years in a row now. We'll see if it's 3 years in a row next year. I haven't looked at a calendar yet. But it is the best time of year.
I thought you did. I thought that was January 2nd.
You think I'm ahead to August already? No, I'm still on this week. I'm going one day at a time.
I like the idea that you study the weeks or like the calendar at the beginning of the year, every year ahead of time.
Okay, so my birthday is on a Monday this year.
Okay.
Christmas is on
April 15th is on a Friday. Good to know.
Have you ever seen the people where you can like tell them a date and they can tell you the day of the week? You ever seen that skill, that like talent? No. Like you can tell them like July 2nd, 1974, and they'll be like Wednesday.
Beep, 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 beep. Yeah,
And
those are robots.
I've never once checked them, but I've believed them every time.
They've been lying. Simon, there's only 7 days of the week. They're messing with you. They're pulling your leg. They can't remember no date.
Those TikToks, one, impossible to stage. You couldn't possibly give them the days ahead of time. And two, I've never once looked up the results. I've just sat there and been so impressed. Like, holy cow. Look at that. Just unbelievable.
Impressive.
I can't even remember what day of the week it is today. And these guys can go an entire like decade back and tell you a random day of the week. Incredible.
Incredible.
That's a skill I wish I didn't have. I don't need that one.
No, it's so useless. Just look that up.
You can. JL, how was your New Year's Eve? Did you do anything crazy?
I didn't do anything crazy. I just hung out. How about you?
Nothing crazy. Just we made vision boards for the new year.
What was on your vision board?
Lots of pictures for magazines and way too much glue. Just way too much glue. There was a picture of a pomegranate juice bottle dressed up like a medieval knight. And it was pretty just spot on. I want a better costume at the Renaissance Fair this year. So that one's on there for that reason. I had a picture of some words that said make time for play. I know we play on the show, but I feel like we work a lot. I gotta make sure to make some time to just play some games, do the things I want to do, hang out with some buddies.
Dynasty season. That's time for play.
That's when we got it. I'm like Jamal Williams. I just want to play some Pokemon, man.
Well, I was playing Pokemon last night. Yesterday. It's pretty fun. It's beating some badges. Beating some gyms, getting some badges.
Ayo. Yeah, the new game's pretty awesome. It's glitchy as hell. I understand it. There's things about it that don't quite work the way they should.
You said that, but I don't know that I've experienced a ton of. I've seen like some messed up graphics, but that's about it.
My game's glitched out a couple times where all of a sudden, like a cutscene, my character is like just like walking through all of the NPCs in a straight line like this, just like walking like where I like triggered the cutscene from the wrong area. There's been times where my game just randomly quit. Luckily, I'd saved recently. There's a couple other like known bugs, like in certain battles, there's moves that will show the extra damage, but don't actually do the extra damage to the Pokemon. So it'll look like they're fainted, but then all of a sudden they've got 50% of their health left.
Interesting.
But I don't care. I don't care that it's glitchy because it's a fantastic game. Like the gameplay really itself is so much fun that like get over.
I don't know what to do. I get overwhelmed by games like that where there's just so many choices that I just don't know where to go.
Farm Terror Raid battles. I just run around at Farm Terror Raid battles over and over. That's
kind of what I was doing for a while, but I was just doing that and then like getting gyms along the way. And I had a couple of those grinder battles yesterday, Simon, where like you're in a battle and you keep getting your Pokemon down, throwing potions, getting them all back to health. And your opponent is just like slowly losing health. And then they use something that just gets them right back up. You're there for like 15 minutes.
Oh, you had no idea that Pokemon had rest. And then all of a sudden they got it and you're just
shit like, out. Oh, that was the last 10 minutes of getting that guy's health down.
The worst one I've ever done like that was when I tried my Mudkip only run of Pokemon Emerald, where I decided I was going to beat the entire game with just a Mudkip without letting it evolve.
Mudkip only run.
The electric gym in that game was brutal because Mudkip does not get its ground typing until after it evolves. So it's just water. So the electric trim, super effective on a weak Pokemon. And the only way that I could beat it, JL, because I couldn't grind anymore. Like, it was taking forever in that part of the game. I had to be way over leveled. Was I had to get it up high enough where one of the Thunderbolts wouldn't kill it. Like, it would get it almost killed. Use a Hyper Potion. And then do that until it ran out of Thunderbolts. And then I could try to kill it. I was just a battle of attrition.
Yeah.
I just had to buy so many Hyper Potions to make it run out of moves.
Just
like
outlast the other guy.
It was like 20 moves before the battle could even start. And then I was like, okay, now let's do it. Now we got it.
That's pretty funny, Simon.
We got Frank the Tank in here. What's up, Frank? So
What up,
good
Frank?
morning. Feeling good about starting Goff over Lawrence, but wishing I had started Swift over Sanders. Hoping the Lions win and Seahawks lose so we can get some postseason
Hey, didn't
action.
I say Swift over Sanders?
You did. I said Sanders over Swift, so I apologize, Frank the Tank. I was rolling Sanders out there everywhere yesterday. Started him in 2 of my 3 championship matchups this week.
You know what? You redeemed yourself, Simon, because in that league yesterday during that show, that was a lot of words that don't mean anything. During that show yesterday, I was going between Jerry Jeudy and Cam Akers. Those were my 2 players that I could not decide between. You and Joey were imploring me to go Cam Akers, and I did end up going Cam Akers, who scored a little more than 3 points than Jerry Jeudy. So it was a good call. It was a good call, Simon.
I'll take it. Small victory, but
It was a small victory, yeah. 14.3 compared to 10.8 from Jeudy. I'll take it. I'll take those 4 points, 3 to 4 points.
Yeah. Also, the second part of your statement, Frank, I want the Lions in the playoffs so bad. So hopefully they can sneak in there.
Yeah, me too.
I want to see Dan Campbell and Jamal Williams and Amon-Ra.
It's going to be the
St. Brown.
Packers. It's going to be the Packers, and it's so annoying.
I know.
Because they shouldn't be taking the Lions spot. They don't deserve it.
It's give it back, Aaron.
Yeah, just give it back, Aaron.
Relax. Isn't that what he said earlier in the season? Whenever people were talking about how that, like, guys, relax. Aaron Rodgers, just relax. I got this. Turns out
so annoying. Yeah, he wasn't wrong.
I swear to God, if we get the Packers and Bucks on a run in the playoffs, like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, just take, like, this season, I feel like is wide open. Like, we just have this unbelievably blown wide open playoff picture. And usually when that happens, I feel like the most boring outcome happens. Like, when it looks like it could be the most exciting outcome, we're not going to get the Jags in the Super Bowl. We're not going to get the Lions in the playoffs. We're going to get the 49ers and the Buccaneers. And at least maybe we get some Brock Purdy, but I don't know, man.
It's going to be disappointing, man.
Absolutely. Tommy in the chat saying, Vegas, baby.
Vegas, baby.
What do you think about that, Jail?
Nope.
Nope. Not Vegas, baby. You're out on
Not
Vegas?
Vegas. I'm out on Vegas.
How come?
I don't know.
Is it
we'll be there in a couple months. So
is it the showgirls?
It's the strange trucks with numbers on the drive up and down the strip with naked women on them.
Girls.
Yeah. It's like, wow. Okay. All right, Vegas. Settle down.
Just handing you cards on the street.
Yeah.
For me, it's the corner that switches between having Elmo on it and having naked cowboys on it.
That's your favorite.
Well, but it's confusing. Like, I go out expecting Elmo. Whoa, there's a naked cowboy. Then the next time I'm expecting naked cowboy, I'm fully prepared to interact with said naked cowboy. There's Elmo.
And that's just a different vibe entirely.
You don't emotionally prepare to meet Elmo and to meet a naked cowboy the same way.
No, it's totally fair.
And Tommy said naked Elmo. Not that I've seen yet. I must have missed that.
That's
corner.
the next time.
That's the next corner, I think. With a cowboy hat. Yeah, maybe it's the same person, and one day they're gonna get confused and accidentally fuse their 2 outfits together.
Oh. Hope not.
JL, we are going to get into a game here momentarily. If Coop shows up, he can jump in here, but it may just be me and you for a moment here playing some Fantasy Detective. For those of you who have not joined us for this game before, how this game works is we've got a series of clues that are going to lead our contestants to a player. After each clue, the contestant will have an opportunity to guess who they think the player is. The earlier on in the clues they guess it, the more points they are going to get. John Luke, make sense?
Makes sense.
You feeling detective-y this morning?
Oh, yeah.
How detective-y? Sherlock levels?
I'd say Scooby-Doo
Pikachu levels. Oh, Scooby. Oh, I think that's somewhere between Pikachu and Sherlock.
Yeah, Sherlock's got to be top of that list. And then I think it's Scooby-Doo. Then I think it's Pikachu.
And I can't think of another famous detective. I know there's a lot of them. Detective. I can think of some inspectors.
Mariska Hart. What's her name from Law and Order? She's a detective.
I don't know a single character's name from Law and Order, except I know that Ice-T is in Special Victims Unit.
He's a detective.
Okay, so the detective ranking list goes Sherlock, Ice-T.
No. Scooby-Doo. It's definitely above Ice-T. Get out of here.
No, you got to put Ice-T up there. And then, what's the difference between an inspector and a detective?
One's British.
Is that it? Like Inspector Clouseau? No, he's French. He's very specifically French.
European is what I meant.
Okay. British, European, same thing.
It's the same thing.
Where's Coop when we need him?
Runeveld.
Yeah, I'm British.
Yeah, 100%. You're all Norwegian.
John Luke, you ready for your first clue?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. This player was raised by his single mom and her group of friends. To express his gratitude, this player tattooed their names in stars down the length of both his arms while in college.
I have no idea. Let's go with Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley is incorrect. John Luke, here's your next clue. This player gave his offensive line robes with his face printed on them.
Who is this with his face printed on them? What? Let's go with Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray is incorrect.
No.
This running back.
Doesn't his dad play a famous sport or something?
Kyler Murray's dad?
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that have to do with giving robes with his face on?
Didn't you say that he was raised by a single mom?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Friends?
Sorry. My memory's one clue long, Joe. Yeah, my memory's. Right. So if your question was about the previous clue, let me know. Otherwise, I've erased it from my memory.
Okay.
Here's number 3. This running back has 994 rushing yards on the season.
It's a running back, not a quarterback. Running back. Let's go with Zeke.
Ezekiel Elliott is incorrect. And Jail, your final clue. This running back has the power of anime on his side.
Jamal Williams.
It is Jamal Williams, JL. You get 1 point for getting that on the last clue here.
Frank the Tank.
Yeah, Frank got it in the chat. Nice job, Frank.
Impressive.
He gets better with every single thing you learn about him. He gave his offensive line robes with his face on them.
That is fantastic. Also, the offensive line just gets showered in gifts. Has this always been a thing?
They protect.
I get it, but I didn't realize that sounds like a pretty good gig.
You know what? But I feel like they're the unsung heroes of most games. I think the reason they get most gifts is the recognition that they play arguably the most important positions in the entire game, and they're not the stars.
Nobody gets an offensive lineman jersey.
I'm getting an offensive lineman jersey.
Me too. I'm
gonna get a Joe Thomas jersey. That's what
I'm gonna get a Linderbaum jersey.
A Linderbaum jersey?
Yeah.
What number?
Tyler Linderbaum. 69?
His number? No, you just
his number would have been such a good answer.
Tommy said Dan Marino gave
63.
his lineman gloves. Hey, gloves are gloves. I like a nice pair of gloves.
I think gloves just like normal gloves.
And Tommy said in a famous commercial, I think that started the trend. So the isotoner gloves are what started the trend of giving your offensive lineman gifts.
And Tyler Linderbaum is 64. 64. I think I'm going to have to get myself a Tyler Linderbaum jersey. My mom did give me a Dick's gift card because on stream I said that I was going to buy myself a Jaguars jersey.
So now you got to get a Jaguars jersey.
Now I got to get a Jaguars jersey. Yep.
Do it. Well, John Luke, you got 1 point for that one, which means you're currently in the lead. 1-0 over Coop. Coop has 0 points at this point in the game.
0 points. Wow.
You think
Coop
he can
sucks.
come back?
My mom texted me same, and I have no idea what she's talking about. She just 8:06 was 3 minutes ago. But my memory is also one clue long, so who knows?
What would you give your offensive linemen as gifts?
I would give them, stuffed artichokes. So good. Best meal.
Are you like freezing them and giving them to them to like reheat in the oven or something?
Yeah, bring home.
Nice. That's a pretty good gift, Jay.
What are you getting them?
I'm getting them bath mats, but really nice bath mats. I'm all about a practical gift. No, they're made out of this like algae hard material that's super absorbent. And so when you step on it, no water escapes and makes your bathroom floor wet. And it also doesn't get soggy and moldy and wet because it's like a hard absorbent rock almost.
Is this a real thing or are you making this up?
No, we got one recently and it like a couple months ago and it's been a game changer. And so I'm all about a practical gift. I'm getting one of these bath mats for all of my offensive linemen because they don't even know that it's going to change their day to day, but it's going to make every time they shower, it's going to make their day better.
Wow, this is fantastic.
No more wet floor and no more moldy, stinky bath mat. That's the worst part.
Yeah, can't have that.
No, not at all. Also, Tommy said that must be some pre-poop speech Coop has given himself.
It's an hour and 15 minutes long.
Yeah, Coop, it was a 15-minute long speech, not an hour and 15 minutes.
He's like, you got this. You got this. By the way, you could totally get a Linderbaum jersey right now if you want. 64 is his number. $97 on sale. Normally $30 off. I mean, $30 more.
Normally $30 off. This time it's only 10.
Yeah. What a deal.
Albert said, did you guys see the Lions fan thinking he was going to get a Calvin Johnson jersey for Christmas, but instead got a Kerryon Johnson jersey?
No, that's hilarious. Got him.
It just feels like something I would accidentally do for someone. Like give them a Kerryon Johnson jersey thinking it was a Calvin Johnson jersey. I thought the Ben Coates jersey was a Sammy Coates jersey on day one of this show.
You did.
That seems like something I would mess up. You had Tommy in the chat with the Sammy Coates.
Sammy Coates.
Oopsies. It's like my sister's boyfriend is big into Magic the Gathering, loves Magic the Gathering. His sister was trying to be sweet for Christmas and get him something that he loved and bought him a whole pile of Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Oh no. Oh no. Rebecca, no.
No, it wasn't Rebecca. It was Jeremy's sister. It was
his sister.
His sister was buying him a Christmas present and accidentally bought a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
That's really funny.
Whoopsies. Wrong game. But it's the thought that counts. And you know what? A Kerryon Johnson jersey, that's a pretty funny piece of Lions merch to have.
It is.
And I loved Kerryon Johnson coming out. Joe, you ready for round 2?
Yeah.
Here we go. This player had the same college coach as the Manning brothers in David Cutcliffe.
Same college coach as the Manning brothers and David Cutcliffe. Let's go with Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones is 100% correct. The David Cutcliffe at Duke probably gave it away, but you got it, JL. Nice job, my friend.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's 100% right.
Dang.
Did you know David Cutcliffe was at Duke?
I have never heard the name David Cutcliffe in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
You just pulled that out of nowhere with that. Like that was the clue in there was David Cutcliffe at Duke as a quarterback. After being like the quarterback's coach for those two guys. What in the world? Like I thought like, oh, okay, so he's got the clue. He's figured it out.
Nope. You said Eli Brothers and Eli Brothers, the Manning brothers.
You said which one of these mofos has that Eli look in his eye?
Yeah, it's like Eli, therefore Daniel Jones. Because we were talking about, we were watching the game yesterday, and Maria just was like, wow, Daniel Jones is such an Eli. Because he's sitting there while everybody's celebrating for the playoffs, and he's just like looking around like a doof.
I like the idea that look was trained into Eli and not that he just had it. That like that was
into Eli or into Daniel Jones?
Well, both, because like the idea that it's the same quarterback's coach and that like Daniel Jones has the same look that Eli has is the idea that look is trained, that it's like almost like a form, like it's a meditative look for them. Empty your brain. Just football, Eli. Just football, Daniel. And they just go fully vacant. And Charles saying Cutcliffe learned his trade from good old Rocky Top. We get it, Charles. Rocky Top's great. Just kidding. No, it was fun seeing it. And that, the quarterback starting for Tennessee has got a freaking cannon of an arm.
Oh my God. Yeah, this is insane.
They were talking about it before the game. Like, this dude, like, he may not have had many starts, but he can make any throw on the field. He has a cannon. And then he let it go, and I was like, good God, that dude has a cannon.
Do it out of nowhere, too. Yeah, you see him throw that orange?
No, I didn't see him throw the orange.
They had a clip of him that I guess went viral. Him throwing an orange all the way across the field. And it hit the wall on the back side of the field.
God, yeah, blown away by that dude's arm in that game. Well, JL, you got that one. The rest of the clues were for his career, this QB averages 5.8 yards per rush. This player grew up in North Carolina, and there are Roin-Pars that this QB's team wants to lock him up long term.
Roin-Pars?
Yeah. I've also heard rumors, but there's also Roin-Pars.
Roin-Pars. Nice one, Keith.
Daniel Jones was the answer to that one, Jalen. And you got it right. After only one clue, which is going to bring you to, there were 4 potential clues for that one, meaning you're going to get 4 points, bringing you to a grand total of 5 points.
Coop sucks.
Yeah, he's got some work to do.
Joey and Coop, he's watching, even though Coop's not on?
Maybe. I don't know.
She's going to tell him all the mean stuff we said about
him. If she has, we've reached new status with Ani Coopy, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Friend? Acquaintance?
Friend.
Nephew-in-law?
Nephew-in-laws. Why is it so? It's so much more personal when plural.
Coop is like our co-host wife, and then that is our we're nephew-in-laws to Ani Coop.
Nephew-in-laws, yeah, that's how it works.
Charles also said, "Sorry, I live beside a Clemson fan and a Gamecocks fan. I will hush. Do not hush." Charles,
is this 2 people, one on either side, and you were like the intermediary between them?
Hey, pretty good day to be a Tennessee fan if that's the case. You've beaten both of those teams this year. Works out pretty well. And no, I'm not saying it. I like our orange better. I was going to say you guys win the battle of the orange, but the Clemson orange is way more playful.
Yeah.
I'll give you guys the victory, but we got the better orange that we get to wear.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, you ready for round 3, JL?
I'm ready.
I don't know. Maybe I can get through more than one clue this time.
Maybe.
This player was a 3-sport star in high school.
3-sport star in high school, Kyler Murray.
This is not Kyler Murray, John Luke. Your next clue is this wide receiver is a huge Harry Potter fan.
I think I would know. Huge Harry Potter fan, 3-time high schooler.
What was that, JL?
3-time high schooler. Big anime fan. I'm going to go with
3-sport star in high school.
3-star sports. I'm going to go with let's go with Mike Evans.
Mike Evans is the correct answer, JL.
No way.
You snuck it out. What the hell is going on today? Coop's not here, and all of a sudden you're just like getting these willy-nilly. Did you know that one?
No, I just guessed.
You stinker. The last 2 clues were this player doubled his TD total in week 17, and this player has 9 seasons with over 1,000 receiving yards. That one probably would have given it away, right?
That would have been a dead giveaway.
Though the word consecutive was not in there. Joey and I talked about it a little bit on last night's show. I wanted to ask you this morning. So 9 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons to start his career, averaging double-digit touchdowns. He's got the ring. Is Mike Evans a Hall of Fame wide receiver?
Probably, yeah.
Do you think he should be? How about that? Not will he get in, but do you think Mike Evans deserves to be in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I think it's very difficult to do that consistently. I think that in and of itself is probably worth recognition. I don't think the Hall of Fame is just for people who are like the most flashiest players. I don't think Mike Evans is that type of player, but I think he's been a team player. He's been there and he's supported his team and been a crucial part to their success over the years. So yeah, I think he does. What do you think, Sam?
I mean, and not flashy. I guess like you could call him not flashy, but dude is unbelievable.
I mean, that's the reason we're talking about him maybe not being in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah. But
that's the only argument. That's the only argument you can make against him. It's not like off the field stuff. It's not anything unrelated to the fact that he just hasn't had like world beater numbers in a single season.
I mean, 2018, 1,524 receiving yards, 8 receiving touchdowns. He's got 4 seasons with 12 or more receiving touchdowns in 9 consecutive years of 1,000 or more yards. Like, it's not just consistency. It's consistency at like a borderline elite level. Know what I mean? Like, hitting that 1,000-yard mark is something that people strive to do, and he's done nothing but it. Like, if he's not a Hall of Famer, then I don't know what a Hall of Fame wide receiver is besides like the best of the best, the elite of the elite. Like, Mike Evans has done everything necessary to make it in. And that ring, it's just a little cherry on top. Like, I think he could be in there without the ring, but having one probably like makes it a guaranteed in my mind. He's got to be in there. And all you haters saying he doesn't deserve to be in there, get over it. And then Keith bringing up a great point. Yeah, the last 2 years are the only 2 years with Tom Brady that he's done it. The other years, it's been not the best QBs for Mike Evans that he's done this with.
It's a great point.
So you can't even make the like, oh, his whole career has been with Hall of Fame quarterbacks. It is not. 2 years of his career have been with Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Yeah,
and this year was arguably harder with the Hall of Fame quarterback to even reach 1,000 yards. Not the best season offensively for the Buccaneers.
Right.
Better Boston, you're saying Evans will be a Hall of Famer for sure. I'm with you. But there's people out there, people talking, saying that he doesn't deserve it, that he shouldn't be in there, that he was hurt too much, that he wasn't a difference maker on the field. Yeah, I agree, JL. Oh, yours was much better. Mine was kind of like, like
Mike
an
Evans,
old dog trying to bark, but can't quite
old dog trying to bark.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, well, that one was sad, JL. I felt how many months were left in my dog's life whenever you did that.
You felt the years weighing.
Like, oh, that dog's dying next week is what.
Oh, no.
Yikes. Well, JL, here's your next one. You ready for it?
Yeah.
This player has 956 receiving yards on the season.
956. Let's go with.
If you pull this out, I'm going to be so mad.
I can just see it in your face every time I've gotten it right.
Well, you're ruining the game. We got more clues.
All right, 956. Let's go with Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin is incorrect. Thank God. I'm not even messing around with trying to trick you anymore. Here's your next one, JL. Most colleges try to recruit this player as a defensive back. Sorry for the aggression in that one. Let me retry that. Most colleges try to recruit this player as a defensive back.
Thank you. Let's go with Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson is incorrect. This player's mom was a hardcore 49ers fan. And just for full transparency on this, I do want to let everyone know that Keith typed out the words 49ers instead of just putting the numbers. I have never seen that in my entire life, the words 49ers written out. But here we are, and it works out. What was your guess, JL?
I'll go with Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp is incorrect. Here is your final clue. This player has had three different quarterbacks throwing him the ball this season.
Three quarterbacks?
Three
wide quarterbacks? So that gives us 49ers fan. Okay, so it's probably a wide receiver on the 49ers then. You dumb. Ayuk.
Brandon Ayuk is correct, JL. On the last clue, you get 1 point. And Albert in the chat pulling that one about a minute ago. Nice job,
nice.
Albert. There were some other guesses. Devo, great guess, Charles. DJ Moore from Frank the Tank. And Albert naming out the quarterbacks. Trey Lance, Jimmy G, Brock Purdy. You had all three of those guys throwing him the ball this year.
For some reason in my head, I was going to other teams. That like this player was on a different team than the 49ers, but the player's mom was a big 49ers fan. So I don't know why I was big braining it.
No, I'm with you, JL. If I would have heard that clue, I would have immediately assumed, okay, so this is a player who's playing on one of their rivals.
Right.
Otherwise, it makes sense. Big 49ers fan. Could have been a misdirect. But JL, you got that one right, bringing you up to, how many points is that now? You had 4 for one of the questions that you got after one clue. 6, 7,
then I got it 1 on
8.
2.
So you got 8. You got 8 points, JL.
Suck it, Coop.
And only one prompt left.
Dude, this is Coop's only chance to come back.
Coop, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, JL, we're up, and you are going first again because this game is not fair. Here is your first question or clue. This player is a big fan of candles, which was revealed during an episode of Hard Knocks.
Candles. DeAndre Hopkins.
This is not DeAndre Hopkins. Here's your next clue. This player has a Siberian Husky and a Golden Doodle.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
It is not Amon-Ra St. Brown, JL. But I like the idea of trying to like pick a player out based on their choice of 2 dogs. Like given 2 dog breeds, who owns them? Who's the player?
It's clearly JJ Watt.
We should play a game where like we list out the pets and their names and then give players that you have to assign which NFL player has those pets.
That'd be good if we can find the pet info.
I'll get on it. I got a repository of NFL player pet. Yeah, I got a pet guy. Tommy, do you know about NFL players' pets? Get back to me. Here's your next clue, JL. This player has 100 receptions on the year.
100?
100.
How much is 100?
1 more than 99, 2 less than 102.
Okay. It's like 6 receptions a game or so. Let's go with. I forgot all the other clues. Can you run it back?
This player is a big fan of candles, which was revealed during an episode of Hard Knocks. This player has a Siberian Husky and a Golden Doodle. And this player has 100 receptions on the year.
I was going to go Marquise Brown, but I don't think it's him now. Let's go with DeAndre Swift.
DeAndre Swift is incorrect. And John Luke, here's your final clue. This player was given his nickname by his Pee Wee football coach.
Given his is this Marquise Brown?
This is not Marquise Brown. Charles has it in the chat. It is CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is the correct answer, and CeeDee is in fact a nickname. His name is Cedarian DeLeon Lamb. His full name, CeeDee, short for that, was given to him by his Pee Wee football coach, and has a Husky and a Golden Doodle.
I didn't know you were going that far back into Hard Knocks. I was just thinking this year, not last year.
I didn't say this year or last year.
I know, but I just assumed.
I love candles too, though.
Oh, yeah. Big candle guy.
I didn't know CeeDee. I must have missed that on that season of Hard Knocks.
I put that on Twitter like last week. I said, I'm a big candle guy.
Did you? I missed that. What's your favorite like genre of candle scent? Because I feel like there's like the fruit cinnamon genre. There's like the dessert genre. There's like the nature genre.
Is the best genre.
You like the dessert genre?
Yeah, it's a bit basic. It's a bit chalk, but I'm about it.
I like the laundry genre. I like the candles that smell like anything that's called like clean linen. Or
even though you hate laundry?
Well, I hate doing laundry, but I love the smell of laundry. It's so clean and so fresh. Like even if your house isn't clean, you light a clean linen scented candle and close your eyes. Linen.
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 A Lennon. What does Lennon smell like, Simon?
Strawberry Fields Forever. It was a pretty good one. That was a pretty good one, JL.
That was pretty good.
Pulled that out, a Beatles song. That's what John Lennon said. You get it?
I get it.
Okay, you just didn't react at all.
I was going the other Lennon direction. That's why.
Oh, yeah. Oppression.
Yeah.
smells like oppression.
Yeah, that's
Let me just say it again.
Oh, you said let me just say it again. Tommy in the chat said, I know one of them has a Komodo dragon.
Yeah, which NFL player is most likely to have a Komodo dragon, Jail?
Micah Parsons.
Maybe. I'm imagining it's Kyler Murray has the Komodo dragon. Because he's a little guy. But he makes up
Micah Parsons came to my mind because he's been tweeting about his pet.
Komodo dragon?
Not his pet, Komodo dragon.
What has he been tweeting about his pet?
Not good stuff. Don't make me talk about it.
Oh, okay. I apologize.
I'll cry on stream.
I won't bring it back up, JL. Want to talk about candles some more?
Yeah.
Will that cheer you back up?
Yeah.
And Tommy said Kyler Murray rides it pony. I will say I have seen a child ride a giant lizard at a Repticon. I think I've told you about this before. Being at Repticon, these big reptile conventions that they have. I was reptile obsessed for a little bit there in college and went to a couple of these. And one of them I walked into, and there was a Nile monitor, which are these just monitor that's the same family as the Komodo dragon. And it's a literal dinosaur on the ground. And there is a child, like a 4-year-old child, sitting on its back, riding this giant lizard in the entranceway of Repticon.
That's wild.
And then I go to the booth that's selling these lizards, and the babies are like that big. And then there's an 8-foot dragon on the ground. And they're telling me it's the same animal. That if I buy one of these little lizards and feed it and take care of it, that eventually it's going to become that dragon. I just find a hard time believing that. That's too much growth. Can you imagine if humans grew that much?
No, we'd be huge.
we would be huge, JL. That's right. We'd be so big. But like if you went to like 100x your size from when you were born, like you're born a foot tall and then all of a sudden you're 800 feet tall.
Yeah, that's way too big. Way too big.
We'd need so much more space.
100 times?
I don't know if that math is correct. That was just me. That was just me spitballing the numbers.
100 times is a lot of times.
I can look up the size whenever they're born.
10 times is a lot of times.
Okay, so they are 10 inches long at birth. How much do they weigh? It doesn't tell me. And now let's see.
How tall were you at birth?
I have no idea.
Me
they can get up to 6.5 feet. So 6.5. We can do this math live. Times 12 divided by 10. 7.8 times their size. JL.
Mom, text me how tall I was at birth. Because
10 inches. How big are babies?
I have no idea. 10 inches seems really small.
A baby seems about this.
I feel like at least a foot, definitely like a foot and a quarter.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how big babies are. Like they're big enough to hold like this.
My mom said 20 inches. I was 20. So what's 20 times 100? 2,000 inches.
2,000.
How many feet is that? 2,000
divided by 12.
12. 166 feet.
Yeah, that'd be way too tall.
That'd be huge.
That would be way too tall, JL.
No,
you wouldn't fit into anywhere.
And then Keith said 20 inches is average. You're average.
Got him, JL. Ernie said, I feel like they're 4 to 5 inches since they can't stand. Yeah, if you just measure them from the floor up, you're just laying there on their belly, you pull out the tape measure. Yep, 4 inches tall.
It's like they can't stand.
Guys, coming up, we've got some predictions and then week 17 recap that we're going to be throwing your way as well. So make sure you're sticking around here. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
The only person, I've said this to you before, who I believe back then, of all those power hitters who truly was clean, Ken Griffey Jr.
I mean, I think so when he got hurt.
Body didn't change.
We'll never know that for sure either.
Nah, dude.
We've seen guys who were not big take substances.
That's true.
To get busted. So it's not about that always.
I hear you. It's just, don't you think with the way his career kind of went, you would think that he didn't take anything?
I don't think he did, but we'll never know 100%.
I'm going to keep telling myself that he didn't. The 1 year player, I mean, he's my favorite baseball player of all time. In the 1990s, Ron, as a kid, as a 5-year-old kid who plays video games and collected cards, there was no one cooler than Ken Griffey Jr. I still wear my hat backwards because Ken Griffey Jr. did it and he looked really cool doing that, wearing a backwards baseball cap. Like, he made everything the guy did looked cool. Even the home run in the movie Little Big League, it's acting, it's all, I guess, fake, but even he made that look cool. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr., you're a little bit older than me, but in the 90s, was there besides Michael Jordan, was there a more loved athlete than Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yeah, no, I love Griffey. He's one of my favorite players ever, from defensively to hitting his swing. And yeah, I would have loved to see what he could have done if he had stayed healthy, the final numbers he'd finished with. So no, I was a huge fan of Ken Griffey, and It's a shame, though, that all those injuries towards the end of his career just really limited the production he put up, but he still put up elite numbers. He was so fun to watch. So I'm a huge Ken Griffey guy.
And here's the other thing, too. So 1994, the season got shortened because of the strike.
And he finished with 40 homers in 111 games that year, man. And then he had 56 2 years in a row, 97 and 98, and then 48. He had a stretch 4 years in a row, 49, 56, 56, 48, 40. I mean, unbelievable. And then, yeah, once he hit like 31, you know, he started to miss games, 111, 70, 53, 83. So think about that, all those years that he lost, and he still hit 630 home runs, man.
Yeah.
So if he was clean, he would have been the all-time home run champion. Again, we're all guessing here, but you would think, all right, well, once he got into age 31, 32, that's when the body started breaking out, which is typical, right, for someone who's not using anything, whereas we saw Barry Bonds just get better with age, and we did not see that with Griffey. So look at 2001, where he's 31 when he played on, look at the home runs decline, 8, 13, 20, 35, 27, 30, 18, 15 to his age 38 season. Even age 39 in 170 games, he had 19 home runs. So he probably would have definitely been the all-time home run leader had he been able to stay healthy.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Get your lap blankets ready because we are back. Mine has hedgehogs on it, JL.
Yours is so much cooler than mine.
I'll get you a hedgehog blanket one day, or maybe a different animal altogether.
Thanks, man.
I did want to showcase something before we get into our predictions for Monday Night Football, JL.
Yeah.
I got a new candle for Leanne for Christmas as well. And the scent, it's an entirely new genre of candle flavors that I'd never heard of, because nowhere else on the candle does it describe the scent as anything besides Edgar Allan Poe. That is what it describes. It is their literary collection, and it is the Edgar Allan Poe scented candle.
So it just smells like
Gotta say,
like passed out drunk.
He smelled pretty good. Edgar Allan Poe did, if this is what he smelled like. But like, I kept reading the box, like looking like, okay, but what does it really smell like? Like, give me a clue. And nowhere on the box did they tell me anything besides Edgar Allan Poe.
And if you were to say, apart from, or maybe it is Edgar Allan Poe, what does it smell most like? If you were the one who had to choose and maybe you didn't know.
So yes, let me channel my sommelier days. My nose is also clogged entirely.
So you can only smell somewhat.
It smells a lot like boogers is what this candle smells like.
Really? If you were to put that scent on one thing, you'd say boogers?
It might be me, but that is the overwhelming scent right now, is the scent of boogers.
That can't be good.
There's a hint of laundry and a hint of tobacco as well in that candle.
Tobacco laundry.
Tobacco laundry. Edgar Allan Poe. Brought to you by Edgar Allan Poe. Tobacco laundry. Do your laundry with tobacco.
And Edgar Allan Poe.
Albert in here saying scampers, and the reason he said that is because Scampers came in with the oi. What's up, Scampers? Jill, we got a game. Oh, what's up? What about Scampers?
Scampers, have you seen the Commander's new mascot? Very alarming. Very unsettling.
Who came in and asked us that earlier? Was it Albert who asked us? I think it was Albert. But Mr. Scampers, yeah, do yourself a favor if you have. Oh, there he is.
It was Albert.
He's on the screen now, JL.
Oh.
He looks too much like a man. He looks like a man who like a guy who works at a butcher shop and like is slowly going crazy. And like at night, he then slices the like head off of a pig and hollows it out and like wears the pig head skin as a mask.
Oh, I thought this was like a psychological thriller where like he slowly looks in the mirror and starts seeing himself turn into the pig.
Well, he sees that, but in order to make what he's seeing in the mirror match what he's feeling as he slowly becomes a pig, he's having to peel the skin off the pig. And exactly. That's 100% the noise he makes while he does it.
Oh, God.
Peel the skin mask over. I am no longer John the Butcher. I am Captain
John
Tuddy.
the Pig.
What if that was his name, the mascot name? John the Pig.
John the Pig, the new Commander's mascot.
Keith said I'd watch that horror movie.
Yeah, we just made everyone deeply unsettled. That didn't mute you at all, Simon. We can still hear you 100%.
Oh, can you really?
Yeah.
Muting my microphone did nothing?
Did nothing at all.
Well, that's good to know. So this does nothing. You can still
I can
hear me?
still hear you fully, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool that it does that. Yeah, that's cool. I guess all the times I've muted myself. I guess you guys have heard a lot of my like mega farts on the show, and no one said anything at this point as well, because I have been confidently using that button for what, 91 shows now, thinking that when I pushed it, no one could hear me.
I think normally it does work, but for whatever reason today, it's not working.
Tommy saying Simon Hawkinson. Yeah, I'm doing my best. And I apologize. My mute button apparently is broken today.
You did not realize.
We can all see the light is off. I shouldn't be talking. I can't hear myself in my own ears, but apparently it works over here.
This is what happens the day after New Year's.
Scamber said 100%. And Charles said, damn, 8:40 and I need a shot of liquor after hearing that.
Charles.
We wait until 8:40 to do the mascot-themed horror movies. That's why we don't do them at 7:40.
This just scares us. Who among us has not donned a pig's head upon our own head? It's very true, you scary cat.
It's been a while. It's been at least a month since the last time I donned a pig
Since
head.
I was John the Pig.
This guy's doing it every week. Every Sunday he's got to put a pig head on.
Oh, the belly is really what gets me, Simon, of that picture.
It was a decision. Like, you know what I mean? Like someone purposely designed that belly and said, you know what, this is the shape.
Right.
It's a man's pot belly, not a pig's pot belly. Like, that is not shaped like a pig. That is shaped like a man who's been sitting on his couch for 40 years doing nothing but drinking Budweiser and watching football.
Oh, that's a beer belly for sure.
They're yelling at Good Morning America with a Budweiser in their hand, and then they got a call from the Commanders. Hey, John, you still got that pig head thing going on?
Oh, yeah.
Have I got a job for you? Scammer said that's a big pig head, though. Yeah, they only got the beefiest pigs in Washington.
Yeah, Washington, known for its pigs.
Is it, Jay? You're from near there.
Nope.
Nope, you're not, or nope, it's not known for their pigs?
Nope, it's not known for their pigs. Yes, I am.
What is it known for? If you had to pick one item that wasn't like politics or government or history.
Ben's Chili.
Ben's Chili?
Ben's Chili. It's a man named Ben and his chili.
Does he work with John the Butcher?
He does not. He does not. Maybe he does. It's Ben's Chili Bowl. It's like famous DC chili place.
Never heard of it. I should look it up. Not that I'm a big chili guy anyway.
No, you're not a big chili guy, so you probably wouldn't like it. I've never been there. I'm not a big chili guy neither.
Not a big chili guy neither?
Nope.
Charles said never eat bacon again.
Nope, never going to do that.
Yeah, Jail's never eaten bacon again solely because of this mascot.
Yeah, this mascot has really traumatized me.
Well, John, look, we got a game tonight. The Buffalo Bills traveling to Cincinnati, and you are not, for a game that has serious playoff implications. Both these teams still playing for something. I know the Ravens are cheering for the Bengals to lose this game because they've still got a chance at winning that division if the Bengals do lose. But the Bengals are 1.5-point dogs at home. But the Bills favored by 1.5, 49.5-point over under in this one, which is so nice given the 35.5-point over under we got in yesterday's game, yesterday's Island game, the Steelers-Ravens game. This should be a shootout. You expecting a good game from this one?
Yeah. I think this is going to be the game of the year. Remember last year, Simon, when we got the Bills Chiefs right before the season, or that was playoffs? Was that a playoff game, or is that right before the playoffs?
I'm not sure which game you're referring to.
The one where they scored it with like 2 minutes left,
and
then they scored again with
that game was unbelievable.
They scored like 30 points within 2 minutes, something stupid like that.
That game was truly absurd. Truly
what game
absurd.
was that? Was that before the playoffs, or
was that they lost in overtime to the Chiefs in the playoffs last year?
So it was a playoff game.
Yeah, that was their division game in the playoffs.
I feel like it's going to be like that. Maybe now that I've said it, it's not going to be like that. But
yeah, don't jinx us, JL.
My bad. It's going to be like a hard under.
I'm with you, though. This seems like it's setting up to be one of the game of the year candidates, even though we haven't seen a snap played, but I am wildly excited. Mr. Scamper's in here. about this game saying, thank you for the reminder, JL and Ben. I need to make chili per my wife's request.
It's the Scampers wants chili. You got to make chili.
Get that chili cooking. Put a little extra catnip in there. Spice it up.
Yeah, and if you make a vegetarian version, you let me know. You let your boy know. You know what I'm saying?
Charles in here saying, my opponent has Diggs, stay under 40 PPR points, and it's okay. So you probably got it. But we did see Mike Evans blow up this week. Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs are a pair. 40
points? Did they get 40 points?
No, but it's not out of the question.
It's not out of the question. I think you got this. Knock it on wood for you, Charles.
I'd give you a 95% chance, probably even higher, but stuff gets crazy.
If Diggs gets 40 points, I'm screwed too, Charles, because I'm playing against Diggs in the 2 main championships that I'm in.
And Albert in here saying, do you guys remember the Rams-Chiefs game from a couple years ago? Oh, yes, I do. Where there was like 100 points scored in that game. It felt like we were watching like a college bowl game with a Big 12 team taking part, where there was just no defense, all offense, all gas, no breaks, 100 points scored. That was so much fun.
Who was on that team? Who were on those teams?
Rams players and Chiefs players.
Oh, nice.
Scamper said 54-51. I was there.
He's at that game because Scamp's is a Rams fan, I think, or LA guy. LA cat.
105 points scored in that game. So JL, over under 105 points scored in tonight's game.
I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take the firm under on that. In fact, Vegas is agreeing with me. They set it at 49.5.
So over under the 49.5 point line.
49.5. I think I'd take the over. I think I'll take the over on that.
I'll take the over as well.
Maybe that's willful thinking. I think it's a good line.
I am trying to will it into existence, but I do feel like both of these teams can get it done. I'm excited for tonight's game. I forgot just how absurd college lines are because I've been primarily looking at NFL lines this season, JL. And like with these bowl games happening, you see 20-point favorites. You see 15-point favorites on the regular. You see over-under set at 70 points. Like you just see these absurd numbers that whenever you're used to looking at the NFL numbers, you go over there and you're like, oh, I forgot college football is absurd when it comes to scoring.
Yeah. I do remember that. I do know that.
JL, who do you think is going to win this game? Bills or Bengals?
I think the Bills are going to win.
You're taking the Bills in this one. Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs get it done?
Yeah. What about you, Simon?
I'll take the Bengals in this one. I think the Bengals are going to pull this one out. Joe Burrow and company looking for a win, still trying to win that division. I'm going to take the Bengals in this one. They're 1.5 point dogs, which means I'm also going to take them to cover the spread clearly since I'm picking them straight up. Do you think the Bengals cover that 1.5 point spread? They're not giving you much room there.
They're not. I think I'm going to take Buffalo here too.
Yeah, if you're taking Buffalo to win, then makes sense that you would take Buffalo to cover there as well. Now,
which side did you take?
I took the Bengals.
You took the Bengals at home. Makes sense.
They're 1.5 point dogs. I think these are two of the best teams in their conference. Either team, these teams play 10 times. It's probably 5-5 between these two. But I like what we're seeing from Joe Burrow and company right now at this point in time. And I think they've got a little bit more riding on this game. They've still got that division up for grabs. I'm pretty sure the Bills have their division locked up, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the Bills won their division already. They could still vie for that top spot, but the Bengals are still vying to win that division. So I think they're going to win this game. They're going to come out with a little bit more to play for.
Yeah.
That narrative matters in these closing few weeks, right? Like what's left to play for these teams. It does matter. Of course they want to win no matter what. But if they've got that little extra bit of motivation, it can make a difference.
I'm with you, Simon. I'm with you. It'd be a fun game. Honestly, it made me sad when you said the Bengals were the favorite to win their division. The best team to win their division. That's what you said. But it's true. It's true right now. The Ravens are no longer the best team in this division.
Well,
not until Lamar comes back.
They can still win the division if the Bengals lose tonight and then Baltimore beats them next week. It'll come down to that game next week. The Ravens and the Bengals play in week 18. And if the Bills win tonight, if the Bills beat the Bengals, it'll come down to a matchup between the Bengals and the Ravens for the AFC North.
Kind of want to go to that game.
Oh, man. Now I'm cheering for the Bills. I was cheering for the Bengals, but now I'm cheering for the Bills to win this game because I love a division game, like a game to end the season with the division on the line. We can
So
get
the
two of
Bengals
them.
win tonight. They're in. They win the division.
They win the division. Bengals win tonight. They win the division. Game over. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Play again next year.
Edgar
Sniff that
Allan Poe.
bow.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be sitting there sniffing the candle all night if the Bengals win, in honor of the Ravens division chances going out the window. But they're locked into the playoffs as well.
Also, my mom coming in with some information, unverified information here on our previous conversation about the pig. She said, heard the original Washington Hogs might sue for trademark infringement.
Do it. That's what they get for going with the Commanders. Do it. Sue Dan Snyder. Do it.
Should they have just named themselves the Hogs instead of the Commanders?
100% they should have been the Hogs. That's a way better name. The Washington Hogs. That's so much fun.
So funny.
I would be decked out in Hogs merch, like without a doubt.
I think I would become a fan again.
You'd switch back, like the Hogs. The Hogs moniker would be enough to get you over there.
The Hogs is such a funny mascot.
Imagine after a sack, they just all start oinking in the quarterback's face,
shaking their butts.
The chicken dance. Farm animals, they all share mannerisms.
Yeah.
I saw a video of a pig this week in jail that loved the pet rats that the pig's owner also had, and it would lay next to the cage and push a button that said, "Let the rats out, please. Let the rats out, please. Let the rats out, please." Or no, it said, "Bring out the rats." That is what it said, which is even better. Bring out the rats. And then as soon as they would go to get the rats, the pig would just lay down and would want the rats to climb all over its belly. Because apparently it felt good to have like the little pitter patters of the rats' feet. And it was best buds, pigs and rats.
What did the rats do?
They just skitter-scattered on the belly.
Why?
I don't know. They like the pig. Rats are apparently wildly intelligent.
That's terrifying.
Like wildly intelligent and very clean animals as pets. If you have them, they're going to be like meticulously clean about keeping themselves clean and very smart. Like they're highly trainable. Like you can teach rats lots of tricks.
Stop.
I'm not allowed to get a rat. I've been instructed no pet rats at my house.
That's fair.
Which is fair. No rats and no snakes, but those are two pets that I really want.
We have pet rats. Didn't ask for them, but we
And
have
you
them.
just have street rats. You have a rat problem. There's a difference between having rats and having rats.
Yeah, there was the other day I was just sitting there watching TV, and I look out my window and I see on the fence to my neighbor's yard a rat just running across the top.
Like a cat?
Like a cat, yeah.
How big was it? That's okay.
20 inches.
20 baby sized. It was a baby sized rat. So Scammers in here saying RIP Panthers. Let's go Jags. Your favorite cat team's dead. You go to the next best cat team. You move on. Jaguars are not Panthers, but kinda. I mean, like I wouldn't getting killed by a Jaguar and getting killed by a Panther would probably be pretty similar experiences, but that's coming from my very limited knowledge of the difference between the big cats.
It's true. I don't know anything about cats.
Not a single thing. Not one cat fact.
I know a lot about cats. I watch documentaries on big cats all the time.
Give me one
it's
cat
like
fact.
In
honor of the Bengals.
They're mostly solitary.
Except for lions. There we
Except
go.
for lions, yeah.
It's wild.
I was just thinking about panthers.
Panthers are mostly solitary. I remember when I was in Colorado, I was about to go for a walk with my friend who lives out there. And as we were walking away, his neighbor said, "Watch out for mountain lions." And I like giggled, like, that's a funny thing to say for someone. Like I thought it was like break a leg, like you were just saying something silly. No, we really had to watch out for mountain lions. Like I like started laughing, and then I was talking to my friend, and he was like, "Yeah, there's been a couple of mountain lion sightings on this trail."
That dude was
recently.
not joking at all.
No, it was just a real thing.
It's very rude for you to laugh in his face.
It's a very real thing that they have to worry about normally. That has never once been a concern for me is mountain lions. I didn't realize people like my friends worried about mountain lions ever. I've got a friend who that's a concern that he has to have sometimes. It's okay.
It's just
make sure we're ready in case a mountain lion shows up.
That's pretty crazy. You see that story about the lion in LA?
No.
I don't know if it was a mountain lion. Some sort of big cat that was like well-known celebrity cat around the area. They recently had to put down. It's awful. This is I know. I don't know how I got here. Back to predictions.
Did you hear about that lion that had to be killed?
It was super sad. He was like, never mind. Let's move on. Stop making me talk about animals, Simon.
John Luke, in tonight's game, I want to run through some of these first touchdown score props here and pick which one we think is the most likely or the furthest down on the list that we would be comfortable going. There's the usual suspects sitting up here at the top. Joe Mixon at plus 650, Stephon Diggs at plus 750, Jamar Chase at plus 850, Josh Allen at plus 1,000, and T. Higgins and Devin Singletary sitting at plus 1,100. Those are your top six. Those are probably the six most likely to do it. But is there a name on here, maybe a little further down, that you'd feel comfortable sprinkling a little dough on, JL?
Let me pull them up. So I could look at the list here.
I'll run through mine. I'm looking at first touchdown score. So to be the first touchdown score in the game, I'm going to go with a guy who's been a touchdown catching machine for them. Now with Joe Mixon back, his role has diminished, but they're still getting Samaje Perine mixed in for this Bengals offense. And Samaje Perine sitting at plus 1,900. I could see him getting a little touchdown pass to kick things off for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Plus 15?
Plus 19.
Plus 19. Ooh, I like that, Simon. I like that pick.
Plus 1,900 for Samaje Perine.
I'm going to go with Isaiah McKenzie. Plus 2,200. He has been he's been getting some targets in the red zone there in Buffalo, and I feel like he's a solid option here. Joe Burrow right underneath him at 25, plus 2,500 is kind of interesting too.
You like him to run one in?
Oh, I don't know. This is not based off anything other than I just know that he's good. Like, does he actually run in a lot of touchdowns?
Occasionally. He's not known for being, he's not like Tom Brady with QB sneaks or Sam Darnold with his rushing touchdowns.
He's had 5 on the season, which is a decent number.
Pretty good.
Not every game, but every once in a while. I like those odds.
JL, in defense of your Isaiah McKenzie pick, I think it's a great one. The Bengals currently are giving up the 6th most yards to slot wide receivers, the players playing in the slot, but they're giving up the most receiving touchdowns to slot wide receivers in the NFL. They have given up 24 receiving touchdowns to slot wide receivers this year. That's the role Isaiah McKenzie plays on that field. It's clearly a weak spot in this Bengals defense.
You just got me more bought in. I want to put real money on this now.
I just got myself bought in on yours. Like, I was like, oh, I like that one. I was like, the Bengals are pretty bad against the slot this year. I know that, but then I didn't realize they've given up the most receiving touchdowns to slot wide receivers in the league. I'm in. What are his odds for any time touchdown score? Because I think that's one I might actually like to sprinkle a little bit on. Let's see. What do we got for Isaiah?
Plus 420.
Plus 420.
That's bad?
No, that's great. It's just a funny
Why'd you go? I thought that was throw up sound.
It could be throw up sound. Depends. But yeah, plus 420. So what? You bet $100. You went for 120. I like that. Maybe throw a little on both, anytime and first, because I think Isaiah McKenzie. Joe, you got me convinced. I like that one more than the Samaje Perine one.
Yeah, I like that.
Whew. Sorry, got the tummy trembles this morning.
Tommy trembles.
They're wreaking havoc on it. Albertson, what are Trenton Irwin's odds to score a touchdown?
What are Trenton Irwin's? Let's see. Anytime touchdown score for Trent Irwin.
Plus 750. He's on there.
See one? Oh, yeah, I see him.
Plus 750 for Trenton Irwin. Anytime touchdown score, Albert.
Naeem Hines plus 1,200.
I'm not sprinkling anything on Trenton Irwin at plus 750.
No. What about Cole Beasley's 1,200?
No, out of principle, I do not want to put Cole Beasley in there, but he does play that role. And it's a good matchup for him, so that might not be a bad call if you want to throw some on Cole Beasley.
Nah.
He's your favorite player, though.
Nope.
But you loved him so much for fantasy, JL.
Nope.
Let's talk about some of these other players in tonight's game, JL. If you had to guess, who is going to have more passing yards, Josh Allen or Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow sitting at 280.5. That's his line on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Josh Allen at 259.5 passing yards. So the books think Burrow's got the slight edge, sitting at 280. Who do you think has more passing yards in this game?
I'll go for Allen. I'll go for Allen over Burrow here. What do you think, Simon?
I'm going to give it to Joe Burrow. They've been struggling a little bit running the ball recently. Joe Mixon has been disappointing for fantasy. I think Joe Burrow is going to have to get it done through the air. And if they're going to win, it's going to be because Joe Burrow balled out. And I predicted them to win. So I'm running that way. More fantasy points, though, because we got to add those rushing yards in. And if you think Josh Allen's going to have more passing yards, I can assume you think he's going to have more rushing yards. So depending on how you think the touchdowns fall, you're likely on the Josh Allen side is the better fantasy play.
Yeah. I have Joe Burrow. I think I do have Josh Allen in one of the leagues I'm in, one of the championships, but I have Joe Burrow otherwise. And I do like Joe Burrow this week. I think Josh Allen's going to score more.
I'm with you. And as long as he scores more than 13 points, I'm happy. Just give me 13 points, Josh, for back-to-back championships. That's all I need.
13 is all. Please.
That's all I'm asking for, Josh. He can get that in rushing yards alone. Just 130 rushing yards, Josh. That's it.
That's all you need.
That's all I need. Is it really that much to ask for?
No, it's not, Simon.
Mr. Scamber said Tommy T and Ian Thomas both hit their overs on yards yesterday. Shout out Tommy Trembles. And I guess Ian Thomas as well. Now, let's look at these running backs, Joe. Joe Mixon's rushing yards line is set at 50.5 rushing yards. Do you think Joe Mixon goes over or under that rushing yards total?
What was it set at?
50.5.
50.5. Oh man, I really hope he hits the over on that. I'll take the over.
I'm going to take the over on that as well. I know it's a tough matchup, but I'm going to take the over on that. And then, Jail, who's going to score more fantasy points tonight? Jamar Chase or T. Higgins in a PPR league? You got to put money on one of them. Is this a T. Higgins game or is Jamar Chase the alpha dog tonight?
I'll take Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase is probably the safer play. I'm going to will it into existence that T. Higgins has the big game.
Nice.
That T. Higgins has that big
Animal
game.
noise bet on this one?
Let's do it. Let's do an animal noise bet. T. Higgins versus Jamar Chase in fantasy for tonight.
All right.
PPR. Are you already admitting defeat? Or is that
that's how you accept an animal noise?
That's
bet.
like in like a pinky swear whenever you touch
it's
thumbs. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
It's locked in. No
Locked
takebacks now.
Nope.
Guys, coming up, we're going to run through a Week 17 recap, breaking down these Week 17 games and answering any and all questions that you've got to throw our way. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
What's going on, everyone? Matt Bruning here with Campus to Canton on behalf of the Better Sports Network, and I'm going to give you guys a rundown of the bowl games for Monday, January 2nd, and give you some better bowl bets. We're going to start with the Real Quest Bowl, Mississippi State versus Illinois. Illinois has a bunch of opt-outs in this game. Their top two cornerbacks are gone, and it looks likely that their top running back, Chase Brown, who's going into the NFL draft, will not play as well. The real story around this game, though, is the untimely passing of legendary head coach for Mississippi State, Mike Leach, who passed recently. Mississippi State's going to be up for this game, and they have by far one of the top offenses, a top 12 offense in explosive rate. Take Mississippi State, lay the 1.5. I just don't see any way they lose this game to honor the great Mike Leach. Next, we're going to move to the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, Tulane versus USC, which should be a really fun and exciting game here. Tulane's offense, 63rd in success rate, 79th in explosive plays, and 79th in rush EPA, which sounds like a bad matchup when you hear they're going up against USC's 35th ranked defense against the run. However, defense for USC struggles in tackling, and that plays big for Tajay Spears, who's not only physical, but can make you miss. USC, though, is buoyed by the best college quarterback in the game right now, Caleb Williams, but looks like he'll likely be without top wide receiver Jordan Addison, who's opting out for the NFL. Still the 9th-ranked offense, but 82nd in explosive rate. They struggle to make those big plays, and that matters because Tulane has an incredible secondary. 4th-ranked defense against pass explosive plays. Take Tulane and the 2 points you're getting, but also play the Tulane money line because I do think that they pull off the upset here, even though it's a G5 versus B5 matchup. Next up, the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, LSU versus Purdue. LSU, a top 10 offense and success rate, but 102nd in explosive rate. They move the ball. They don't have those explosive plays, which doesn't look good against a 29th ranked defense success rate here for Purdue. However, they're without their head coach, Jeff Brom, who's moving on to Louisville, and looks like they're likely going to be out without Aiden O'Connell and backup Brady Allen. Braden Allen into the portal, Aiden O'Connell going on to the NFL. LSU's favored by 14.5, which seems too much. I want to take Purdue in the points, but I don't like that. That's my lean, but I'd honestly avoid that in this game. Last but not least, the Rose Bowl, the Mac Daddy of them all. Penn State versus Utah. Penn State, 26th ranked defense and success rate, 18th ranked defense against the pass. Utah comes in with the 6th best pass success rate offense. Strength on strength matchup here. However, Utah loses their stud tight end, Dalton Kincaid. I just don't think Cam Rising has enough against a really good team here in Penn State. Give me Penn State and the points. Give me the money line. Everybody, I hope you had yourself a safe and happy new year. And thank you again for choosing Better Sports Network to bring you all of your college football, NFL, and all your sporting news. Everybody have yourselves a great day and enjoy your bowl games.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Joining us on the show for the remainder of the show, another member of the Front Yard fam. We've got Jay Felicio, aka G-Men Jay, joining us. What's up, Jay?
What's happening, guys? Can you hear me all right?
Oh, I can hear you loud and clear.
Good. I
was Roger.
A little worried that I might not be able to hear me, but yeah. And the New York Football Giants are headed to the playoffs. What do you guys think about that?
I think you guys absolutely deserve it.
And I think you're also going to absolutely deserve the first round exit that you inevitably have.
Yeah, because we're likely playing the 49ers. So, yeah, that's going to happen.
But that being said, Brian Daboll coming in and turning this team into a playoff team in year one is absolutely absurd. Wasn't even in the realm of outcomes that I thought was possible for the Giants this year.
I was thinking, 6-7 wins max. Like, just wanted to see some improvement, not the abysmal play. But man, it's been fun. I'm excited for the future for the first time in a very long time.
We got Maria in the chat saying, good morning. What's up, Maria? And then saying, go Big Blue. And Dr. Microanalysis in here with the J. Yes, you got the whole Giants fan base riled up.
Yes, you do. Good morning, Ed. Good morning, Maria. And Giants contingency in the chat.
Mr.
There are dozens of us.
There are dozens of us.
They're coming out of the woodwork now. I feel like the demeanor of Giants fans really changed this season. It went from like, oh, we can't even tank right. Like, we can't even get a good draft pick to like, hey, maybe we're good. Maybe we're actually good at football.
We're good.
And now it's like, Giants!
Well, when you've had to deal with Gettleman for so long, and then guys, the coaches that we've had to deal with, it's you have zero faith in the organization. And finally, for once, it seems like they did something right with Daboll and Shane. So,
Jay, I do want to ask you, as a Giants fan, we talked a bit about this earlier on the show. The reports are that they've now put a multi-year deal in front of Daniel Jones, that they want to bring Daniel Jones back. What do you think? Do you think this is the right decision for the Giants to sign Daniel Jones to a multi-year deal? We're seeing him look all right. He had a great game here, left the field to a standing ovation. And Daboll is a coach that's known for getting the most out of his quarterbacks.
I've had a very love-hate relationship with Daniel Jones. Being a Duke fan, being a Giants fan, I never liked how high we drafted him. But you have to be kind of excited with how he's looked with the hodgepodge of wide receivers that we've had this season. So with as many issues as we've had on this team, as long as we don't pay a ridiculous amount, I think I'm okay with it. This team still has, even though we're playing a lot better, this team still has a lot of holes to fix. And he's done enough. I mean, we've seen the flashes. Even with the previous regime, we've seen the flashes. And it's amazing when you have, as we've seen with teams around the league, when you have a coaching staff that puts players in the position, doesn't try to fit the square peg in the round hole. Daboll has put Daniel Jones in a position to succeed to his strengths. So I think I'm okay with it as long as it's not a ridiculous amount. See what he can do. There's definitely been some strides if he could actually get a decent wide receiver, outside of Richie James and Isaiah Hodgins. See what happens.
Yeah, maybe they can sign an Alan Lazard in the offseason and then all the problems will be fixed.
Yeah, or maybe even trade for a Christian Kirk, big name wide receiver.
They're not letting go of the $20 million man, JL.
$20 million man. Daniel Jones, honestly, I feel like he is the type of player who's going to he's not even going to really negotiate for himself a big contract. He's just going to be like, no, I understand. That's totally fair.
No,
totally fair offer. Yeah.
Let's take off a few million. You guys deserve it.
He's just going to accept whatever the first one they put in front of him.
They'll put it in front of him. He'll look down and they'll just go, just shrug his shoulders. Okay.
I guess.
What, is it practice now? No, Daniel. Not yet.
Can I keep my locker? Do I need to get a smaller locker, or is that okay?
Keep the same locker, Daniel. Don't worry.
I mean,
he's
I'll
the
go
kind of guy
bathroom
that I
if
could
I
see
have
coming
to.
off the field at halftime and not realizing that was the first half of the game. Thought they were still warming up. Was wondering why the other team was getting in the way so much. Like God, like
what's going on, guys?
We're supposed to stay at our own halves here.
Yeah, come on.
Definitely sleeps Pooh Bear style in his jersey. Like he's just constantly wearing his jersey every day.
He signs it himself.
Yeah.
You're sleeping on Daniel Jones' couch. Like he's your buddy. You're sleeping on his couch. And then all of a sudden, like you hear something rustling, you look over in the kitchen, and it's just his bare butt sticking out from underneath his Giants jersey, filling up his cup with water.
Reach.
And then as he's going to like turn around to walk back to the room, you very quickly pretend to be asleep again so that you don't get the full frontal flash from Daniel Jones.
Oh no, you're up. You're up. You want some pancakes? Like,
he's not hiding it at all. He's gonna be like, "Oh, good morning." It's
and then
2 a.m.
right there, he wants to do a jersey swap with you and just wants you to take off your shirt. He's like, "Okay, I'll sign it. I don't mind. It's not awkward."
Lucius in here had a question for us. Said, how do you guys think Diggs is going to do this evening? I said it yesterday morning on the show that I don't sniff much right now, but I sniff a Diggs game coming. I think this is going to be a big Diggs game. He's unbelievably talented. The Bills still fighting for that number 1 seed potentially. I think the Bengals win this game, but I think Diggs gets it done. You'll see a pretty big performance from him. I bet we get a touchdown.
I'm with you, Simon. I think Diggs will have a good game. The Bengals secondary is decent. They are decent. But I think we're going to see a good game for Diggs.
What about you, Jay?
I think that you're going to see an okay game. I don't think you're going to see a Stephon Diggs classic game where he just absolutely blows up. But I think you see 15-ish points, which you're happy with. Don't get me wrong, but I think that he's going to struggle a little bit against the secondary, like you said, JL. That the Bengals do have a pretty solid secondary.
Better Boston here said Daniel Jones neutered Saquon when it mattered most. Ouch. That hurt.
That's a harsh word. Neutered.
Yeah, neutered.
Unless you're Drew Carey, I avoid saying that one. Except I just said neutered twice.
3 times.
Tricked.
That was the second one. I accounted for it in the saying of it right there. Charles said, what happened to Ingram yesterday? You know what? I think we can talk about this game as a whole. The Jaguars 31-3 over the Houston Texans, pulling this victory out. But Evan Ingram, who has been hot as of late, yesterday only 2 targets, 1 reception for 16 yards. Mr. Double-digit targets only got 2 yesterday. Jay, what happened to Evan Ingram?
I think it's a risky run, when you're relying on a guy like Evan Ingram. Like I've liked Evan Ingram since he was with the Giants. He's extremely talented, but he's just not in that upper echelon of tight ends that you can rely on and week in and week out. And the running game really got going. Trevor Lawrence didn't throw a single touchdown. I think Snoop Conner got his first touchdown. JaMychal Hasty got a touchdown. I don't know if Travis Etienne got one or not, but they didn't have to throw the ball. They dominated the Houston Texans from the beginning to end, and they were just fine. And that's the problem is, when you're relying on even though Travis Kelce didn't have that great of a game, he was still involved in the passing game. He still got, double-digit points. When you're relying on the Evan Ingrams, 0 is a very real outcome.
They went up 28-0 in this game, 21-0 by halftime. I think that's what happened to Evan Ingram.
21 passing attempts by Trevor Lawrence.
Right. 8 by their backup. Who got in? I'm even blanking on the name right there. Is it Beathard there? Yeah, CJ Beathard came in and threw a couple pass attempts as well. But yeah, this was a low passing volume game. Only 21 passing attempts from his best friend in that offense, Trevor Lawrence. It was a weird game.
I didn't know they were best friends.
They eat breakfast together? Based on his target volume, I'm assuming they're best friends. If you're giving that kind of target volume to someone who's not your best friend, then I don't know. Maybe slow down.
They're just acquaintances, and he's just trying to get to that friend level.
You dirty boy.
Dirty boy, Trevor.
Better Buzz that need at least 30 points from Josh Allen tonight. This is the spot I drafted him in the second round for. Let's go. Well, if you got to rely on a quarterback for 30
that's a lot of pressure.
Josh Allen's a pretty good quarterback to rely on, but that's a Monday night sweat. God,
I'm so happy that
championship week, Monday Night Football is Bengals Bills. Just
the best. This is the best.
I would like it more if I was in more championships.
How
but
many are you in,
unfortunately-
Jay?
Big fat one.
Big fat
unfortunately.
one.
This
And
is
how,
one of
how's
my.
it going?
It's about 50-50 split. He's got I'm up and he's got Gabe Davis. So I'm fully expecting a Gabe Davis night tonight because that's who I'm playing.
How
against.
much are you up by?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I want
If
to
it's like less than
say-
11, it's just either like a Gabe
No,
Davis
it's
amount of points.
it's like less than 20. I think it's 18, something along those lines. So it's
So
I
that's
just need
pretty
it.
solid. I wouldn't expect Gabe Davis to get 18 in this match.
I'm just expecting because I'm playing him. That's the only reason.
Man, yeah, Jay, you're in the less fun position of sitting there just hoping a certain player doesn't score.
That's
on
the
Monday
worst.
night, instead of sitting there like
sweat.
Even though Matt Better Boss's situation is worse than yours, needing 30 points from Josh Allen,
much rather
I'd
be there.
rather be sitting there in his position, pulling for Josh Allen all night,
Right.
instead of just like having a panic every time you see Josh Allen lean back like this. Like anytime you see that ball going down, I'm like, oh, well, there's my championship. I'm surely Gabe Davis is on the other end of that one.
The absolute worst. And then like when the player catches the ball in that panic, like you don't know if it's his number, if it's Isaiah McKenzie, like who was it? Get out of the way. No. Okay, good. It was Isaiah McKenzie. All right, we're good.
Then it ends up being Trenton Irwin or just some random ass player that doesn't even matter. Sorry, Albert. I know Albert was looking for that Trenton Irwin.
Yeah, he was looking for that Trent Irwin love. And you've done nothing but poo-poo all over his Trent Irwin love.
What's wrong with Trent Irwin? I think they like the guy. He's got
Yes, Simon. Yes, Simon. What's wrong with Trent Irwin?
Let me tell you what's wrong with Trenton Irwin. First of all,
You just Googled Trent Irwin, did you not?
well, you guys said he's got nice hair, and I was like, I don't remember him having nice hair. But I pulled it up, and you know what? He does in fact have nice hair. But I'll tell you what's wrong with Trenton Irwin. He didn't used to have nice hair. And I'm looking at a picture of him on ESPN looking like a dweeb. This dweeb's going to catch a touchdown for the Bengals tonight? I think not.
Well, Simon, let's be honest. You didn't used to have nice hair, and now your hair is luscious and beautiful, and we don't hold that against you.
A regular Greg Dulcich.
Well, you know who does hold it against me? Me. And I'm holding Trenton Irwin in the same standards, okay?
Fair enough.
Our good buddy Jake Trowbridge in the chat said, I trust the analysis of the guy with a shiny championship belt in plain view. Really, that's a mistake, Jake. You should have latched on to the Thanos glove because I would trust
That's
anybody
true.
with that kind of power.
Right. I did collect all the Infinity Stones, so
I trust
don't piss
the
me
All
off.
it takes is like $39.99 to get that championship belt. It's
Actually,
not really
that's a fake. Oh no, this is a that one was like
Jail, that was
$200-ish.
$41.99.
$41.99. That's not a high bar, but that those Infinity Stones, pretty tough. Let me tell you.
You don't want to know what I had to sacrifice to get those.
I trust the guy with my stolen trophy behind him in the background. That's who I trust.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we
That,
go.
and
Oh, look at
unfortunately,
that bad boy.
I tried so
do
hard
have to-
I tried so hard to figure out how to get my 4.5 foot tall fantasy football trophy on the
How'd you do it?
airplane. I didn't. It's in Atlanta.
You just left it?
I just left it. I was trying all these different ways, and I'm like, it's just gonna have to be like
Should have wrapped it
shipped
in a
for
balloon, tied it.
$150.
Never mind.
No, we're gonna have to ship that for whatever that shipping cost is. Maybe we implement a new rule in that league that last place pays to ship me the trophy.
All right, who's
That's a
going to
good
get you
idea.
to go to the post office?
Well, no, it's gonna come to my house. I'm not shipping it.
No, well, the
Who's
next
going to get you
time.
to go to your front
Well, I'll
door?
just have to keep winning over and over
Yeah,
again, and then I
just
never
keep
have to ship it again.
That's true. You said you're in a good spot for that in that league, right? In that championship game?
Yeah, I'm in a pretty good spot in that championship game. I've got Josh Allen left, and I'm down 13. So I feel all right about that. Unless barring injury, Josh Allen usually does at least 13 points.
So you should keep the trophy another year.
I should keep the trophy another year. So it's fine living in Atlanta for a second because I don't have to ship it anywhere.
Knock on wood. Nothing happens to Josh Allen tonight.
Please, Josh Allen. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't count any chickens before they hatch, but those chickens are just begging to be counted.
They
Do you want
are.
me to go
They're-
count the chickens? Because my neighbors actually do have chickens. I can go count them if we need to.
So do mine, and I live in the middle of the 7th largest city in the United States.
Dude,
And I
chickens
wake
Yeah,
up.
see, I at least live out in the country, so it makes sense. But
Chickens as a pet is a vibe. It's absolute vibe.
well, they
My neighbor-
use it for eggs and stuff. So like they give us eggs and
They
I
use
think
it for eggs.
I think
and
I've told
stuff.
you guys about this
Eggs and
before,
stuff.
but there's a subreddit called Backyard Chickens. Have you ever?
I think you have told me about
And it's
this.
all
Yeah,
about
I think-
people's like pet chickens and people. I always love getting into like very specific hobby subreddits because like the passion that these people have for their chickens is contagious. Like I could scroll to chicken pictures and chicken stories and the questions they have about coop management and which breed works well with other breeds of chickens.
Coop
And mine
management?
Our coop or
chicken coop management. Yeah, they didn't have any tips for me on managing our coop.
There's a chicken coop?
Nobody does.
What came first, the coop or the egg?
So chickens have their own coop that they hang out with?
They live in a coop. So
they live inside coop?
So you know how you live in a house?
Hold on, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like imagine your house was called Coop.
They just call it a coop, but it's a house.
It's a house. It's a chicken
It's
house.
not a coop. It's not our coop.
It's not an Andrew
It's
Cooper.
a house to chickens.
Okay.
They ran. See, the problem was originally it
I'm
was
tracking now.
It was just a coop, but as chicken
Which
became one of the most popular, well, just a coop. They just had to find a coop to store them in. But as chicken became the most popular meat to consume in the United States, there weren't enough coops to keep up with the demand. So they decided to try to trick the chickens by calling the little buildings they put them in coops. And turns out chickens are dumb. They immediately believed, oh, this is coop. And they got right in and everything was good to go.
Wow.
Has a chicken ever lived inside of coop?
Not this coop. No, that was an outdated practice by the time this coop came around.
Okay.
Interesting. Oh.
But he's got a long line of coops in front of him that did have chickens living inside of them.
Scaper said, "Can't wait to ship my pants," is all I heard.
That is the number one commercial of all time, that Kmart commercial. Kmart commercial.
Commercial.
You can ship your pants? I can ship my pants. You can ship your pants. I remember my old boss at my last job had never heard it, and I dropped it one time in a meeting. He was looking at me like, what are you talking about? And then after the meeting, I went to his desk and pulled it up on his computer, and he was sitting there just like belly laughing at the top of his lungs, only the way like a full boomer can belly laugh. Like it had like 40 years of drinking beer and watching football behind that laugh is what it had. Like it had a family and 3 children behind that laugh, and he was just like shaking the office with the ship your pants commercial.
That's hilarious. And then Jake Trowbridge came in with his number one Trenton Irwin fact is that he's not related to Steve Irwin. Do we know that for sure, Jake?
Sounds like he may just made that up.
Yeah, I don't believe you.
He
Irwin's
doesn't-
not that common of a name.
I don't know, but Jake Trowbridge is the resident Steve Irwin knowledger, whatever you want to call it. I just couldn't think of a word, so I just made
Knowledger is
something
what
up.
we want to call it. I like
Right,
it.
he's a knowledger.
He did appear on the 2005 Bravo series, Sports Kids, Moms and Dads, Trenton Irwin. So he is also another Irwin who's been on TV. So that's kind of related to Steve Irwin.
That's
Have
true.
we ever heard him talk? Because if he talks about wildlife the way that we might have something here. I feel like it's a big conspiracy.
We were talking about Jaguars and Texans at one point.
we were.
Here, is what we were talking about. We've gotten a bit off track here. But I asked Joey this question yesterday. I wanted to hear what you guys thought. On the Texans side of the ball, for players that we're interested in for Dynasty, it's Dameon Pierce. And then is there anyone else? Is there a single other player on this Texans team that you have any interest in going into this offseason? Nico Collins is maybe another piece, but there really isn't much fantasy relevancy on this Texans team right now.
I think the right answer is Brandon Cooks. His name should be in there, but he's not on my list.
And he likely won't be on the Texans next year.
Right.
He seemed pretty unhappy with the Texans organization.
But that might be a good reason to trade for him in Dynasty if you're a win now. He's still relatively young. We know that he can produce pretty much in any situation. I'd say that, take a look, see what it might cost to acquire Brandon Cooks. I do like Nico Collins. I expect them to draft a quarterback once they get somebody in there, especially if Brandon Cooks is gone. He could be the guy. Chris Moore came on as of late, but he's still, I believe he's a little older. I think he's in like late 20s, early 30s, which in football terms is old. In living your life terms, that is very, 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 very young, like extremely young. So late 30s is basically a baby. But other than that, I got to say, I know it's kind of chalky, but I think I'm on the train of getting rid of Dameon Pierce if you can get something of value. We saw he kind of hit that wall. He didn't have a ton of carries in college. And when he hit that threshold, He just wasn't performing the same way he was at the beginning of the season. I could see them bringing somebody in, not necessarily completely phasing him out, but I don't see him being the guy in this offense long term. And, as we know, Joey, I love Joey, but if you can get somebody who loves Dameon Pierce like Joey loves Dameon Pierce, you can get some, honestly, I'd take a high second for him. I just think that they could, draft capital matters. It really does, Like I said, it's the chalky answer, but it's the truth. We've seen it time and time again.
Jill, are you trying to trade away Dameon Pierce in Dynasty? Do you think maybe with the draft capital behind him that his job isn't that secure?
Sorry, I just sneezed my brain into another dimension.
What dimension?
The third.
That's the one we're in.
Oh, shoot. Oh, God.
Where were you then?
God, it's back.
Oh, thank God. Dameon Pierce, you asked me if I think value going forward in Dynasty.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think we'll see a drop off. He may have a James Robinson like trajectory here in where everybody keeps discounting him and we keep seeing him come back and just perform. I think that's probably the most likely outcome because he is semi-talented here. I think he'll be a backup most likely. I think the Houston Texans have so many holes in their team. I don't think that the running back is the spot they should focus on. Hopefully they don't. Some teams do make the mistake. I don't think that they will. And so they'll probably just keep Dameon Pierce and just build around him. I think we'll have a James Robinson-like trajectory, like I said.
Hello, Simon. You still with us?
Oh, no, Simon is frozen.
That's all right. But yeah, I get what you're saying. And I don't think you should just give him away because I can see that. But, you look at James Robinson. Yeah, he had two years of really good value, but what's his value right now?
Right.
The Jets traded for him. So it just depends what you're able to get. Don't give him away because I do think he's going to be valuable. I do think he's going to put up some solid games. It just depends on you really just taking the risk on what the Texans are going to do at the running back position.
Yeah, I'm with you. Maybe we'll see him become relevant. Welcome back, Simon.
It's my camera's messed up. I'm using the wrong camera here. Don't know what's going on there.
Different angle.
Thanks for welcoming me back. And it's a little bit darker.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a little bit sadder this morning is what's going on.
Aw.
How do I sound?
You sound fine.
Maybe that's why I wasn't muted.
Of Fergie and Jesus.
Yeah, I think it must have been using your other mic.
It still is. It's using the one from. So apparently, here's what's going on right now. It decided I'm no longer going to use the proper camera and I'm going to use the microphone from your camera instead while not using the camera as a camera. So that's why I wasn't muted. We'll get that figured out. Who got traded to the Jets?
You. Congratulations.
Jay said the words whenever I came in. He got traded to the Jets.
James Robinson.
That is true. He did get traded to the Jets. Were we talking in reference to Travis Etienne here?
No, Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce, I was saying, is similar to he'll likely have a James Robinson-like trajectory here.
He does have more draft capital than James Robinson did.
You
know what I mean? Like he does have more behind him. And I still think he's going to have a role in this Texans offense. He probably just won't be the lead back. I think maybe we're overreacting to his draft capital. Like he's still going to have value. I still think he's going to be a good fantasy running back, just maybe not a true 3-down workhorse back, which is rare in the NFL anyways. Most of these running backs were compromising on.
Right. And I agree with you. And while you were gone, I did say that I'm not saying give him away. I'm not trying to just, take the discount on him. And there goes Simon. All right. Well, he just doesn't want to hear my take on Dameon Pierce, which is fine. I respect him. I listen to his takes, but apparently he does not mind. That's okay. I still love you, Simon.
We had Scampers in the chat said Jaguars have the strongest bite strength of the big cats. The Moreau, brought to you by Mr. Scampers.
I love it. I mean, and if you're going to take anybody's word for facts about cats, it's going to be Mr. Scampers.
That's true. Which is your favorite of the big cats?
I would probably say the white tiger.
The white tiger.
White tiger, because I was a big Power Rangers guy growing up, and White Ranger was my absolute favorite. So that's where I'm going to go.
All right. Well, while Simon's figuring out his issues, we'll have him back shortly. We got some more matchup talk coming up. But until then, you are listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on the Better Sports Network.
What's going on, everyone? Matt Bruning here with Campus to Canton on behalf of the Better Sports Network, and I'm going to give you guys a rundown of the bowl games for Monday, January 2nd, and give you some better bowl bets. We're going to start with the Real Quest Bowl, Mississippi State versus Illinois. Illinois has a bunch of opt-outs in this game. Their top 2 cornerbacks are gone, and it looks likely that their top running back, Chase Brown, who's going into the NFL draft, will not play as well. The real story around this game, though, is the untimely passing of legendary head coach for Mississippi State, Mike Leach, who passed recently. Mississippi State's going to be up for this game, and they have by far one of the top offenses, a top 12 offense in explosive rate. Take Mississippi State, lay the 1.5. I just don't see any way they lose this game to honor the great Mike Leach. Next, we're going to move to the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, Tulane versus USC, which should be a really fun and exciting game here. Tulane's offense, 63rd in success rate, 79th in explosive plays, and 79th in rush EPA, which sounds like a bad matchup when you hear they're going up against USC's 35th ranked defense against the run. However, defense for USC struggles in tackling, and that plays big for Tajay Spears, who's not only physical, but can make you miss. USC, though, is buoyed by the best college quarterback in the game right now, Caleb Williams, but looks like he'll likely be without top wide receiver Jordan Addison, who's opting out for the NFL. Still the 9th-ranked offense, but 82nd in explosive rate. They struggle to make those big plays, and that matters because Tulane has an incredible secondary. 4th-ranked defense against pass explosive plays. Take Tulane and the 2 points you're getting, but also play the Tulane money line because I do think that they pull off the upset here, even though it's a G5 versus P5 matchup. Next up, the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, LSU versus Purdue. LSU, a top 10 offense and success rate, but 102nd in explosive rate. They move the ball. They don't have those explosive plays, which doesn't look good against a 29th ranked defense success rate here for Purdue. However, they're without their head coach, Jeff Brom, who's moving on to Louisville, and looks like they're likely going to be out without Aiden O'Connell and backup Brady Allen. Braden Allen into the portal, Aiden O'Connell going on to the NFL. LSU's favored by 14.5, which seems too much. I want to take Purdue in the points, but I don't like that. That's my lean, but I'd honestly avoid that in this game. Last but not least, the Rose Bowl, the Mac Daddy of them all. Penn State versus Utah. Penn State, 26th ranked defense and success rate, 18th ranked defense against the pass. Utah comes in with the 6th best pass success rate offense. Strength on strength matchup here. However, Utah loses their stud tight end, Dalton Kincaid. I just don't think Cam Rising has enough against a really good team here in Penn State. Give me Penn State and the points. Give me the money line. Everybody, I hope you had yourself a safe and happy new year. And thank you again for choosing Better Sports Network to bring you all of your college football, NFL, and all your sporting news. Everybody have yourselves a great day and enjoy your bowl games.
Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. I am your new host now. I am the captain now, JL, joined by my good buddy Jay. How you doing, Jay?
Good. My secret plan is to actually come on and kick all you guys off, and I'm just going to do the entire thing solo. So this is eventually going to be my show.
Just slowly making that happen. I like it.
Yep, exactly. You can't do it too fast because then it's obvious. But
you can't. And we were talking matchups here. We're talking the Jaguars-Texans game, if I'm not mistaken, Jay.
You are correct.
Travis Etienne had a pretty good game. 9 carries, 108 yards, got a touchdown on top of 3 targets, 3 receptions for 32 yards, and 26 fantasy points. A lot of people were worried about starting Travis Etienne, but he returned. He returned some value this week.
Yeah, you're really surprised with this game not meaning anything for the Jaguars. That the starters pretty much played the whole game, and Doug Peterson said that was going to be the case. Can't always believe what coaches say, but you have to be excited for the future in Jacksonville. And this, I don't know if you guys saw this morning or have talked about it, but they are going to be the primetime game on Saturday, 8:15 to Jaguars and Texans.
Yep, got flexed in. Welcome back, Simon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We'll make this work.
My indignation, my anger about that game being moved out of Sunday night is assuaged by it being on Saturday night. At least it gets a primetime slot.
Yeah. And Charles in here had a question for us. It says, do you guys think Jalen Hyatt will be a good NFL receiver, or will his size hinder him? Simon, what did you see from Jalen Hyatt, Tennessee Volunteers wide receiver this weekend?
Say that again.
I said, what did you see from Jalen Hyatt, the Tennessee Volunteers wide receiver this weekend? I
saw nothing from him this weekend. You say Tennessee Titans?
Tennessee Volunteers.
Oh, I tried to cancel out as much of that game as possible. I didn't see anything this weekend in regards to that, JL. I'm not even sure Clemson played Tennessee in that Orange Bowl game.
I think you're right.
So I'm not certain that I saw anything. I'm gonna have to go back and watch tape from all the other games that they played this season. But yeah, if we're being honest, I haven't done my deep dive into a lot of the rookie wide receivers yet. I see what I've seen from their highlight tapes. Dude looks good, but I need to go back, and I don't know who my favorite wide receivers coming out of this class are yet.
Yeah.
Now that the season's ending, we got one more game tonight. And then I was laying in bed last night thinking like, oh man, I can't wait to deep dive into some rookies. Get way too attached to a couple of them, go all in on some of these receivers. Last year it was Drake London for me. We'll see what happens this year.
And then Mr. Scamperson here said, which is a better ghostwriter name, Dalton Kincaid or Trey McBride?
Dalton Kincaid for sure. And it's a ghostwriter for a series of erotic mystery novels is what Dalton Kincaid is the ghostwriter.
It's like erotic Stephen King.
Exactly. Yeah. It's gonna be like Stephen King has stories, but with like really like D grade eroticism written into there.
Yeah,
like
just
really,
like really forced in there. Like
Pet Cemetery really means something completely different.
And then the man touched her boobies and she said, thanks for touching my boobies. That's the level of eroticism that we're getting in there.
Kind of reminds me of whenever Fred Armisen comes on New Girl. Did you see that part of New Girl, Simon?
I don't think so.
He plays this character, this writer who is renting out one of the apartment rooms for an Airbnb, and he's an erotic novelist, and he reads out loud to Schmidt as he's cleaning up his wine glass, and is very similar to that, Simon.
I think I've told you guys.
Touched your boob.
I think I've told you guys about this before, but it is maybe my favorite podcast of all time called My Dad Wrote a Porno. And if you have not listened to it, everybody listening to this needs to go download episode 1 of season 1 of My Dad Wrote a Porno today and listen to it because it is so funny. It's this guy about our age who gets together with some of his friends, and in his father's retirement, his father decided to become an erotic novelist and wrote a series of books about a character named Belinda Blinks, who is sleeping her way to the top of the pots and pans industry. It's all about this businesswoman in the pots and pans industry trying to sleep her way to the top. And that's the premise of the novel. Industry. And it is this guy's son and his friends reading out loud the most horribly written erotic novel of all time. And it is like pee your pants funny. You got to listen to it.
You've told me so many times to listen to that, and I haven't yet.
You got to. It's like, it's dangerous to listen to while driving. It's so funny. It's one of those, like, really, that's an at-home podcast because you're laughing too hard while listening to it.
That's hilarious. So we were talking Travis Etienne. Was the thread that we got here.
Great segue.
Yeah. We were talking Travis Etienne. Where do you guys think Travis Etienne is going to be drafted going into next year?
Well, if we're looking at the running backs, that'll definitely go ahead of him, right? Because, like, I feel like this is a trap we fall into. A guy has a great season, a guy starts breaking out, and we're like, oh, top 5 guy. But then, like, there's a lot of guys that probably we think are good enough to be a top 5 guy. So I like to look at the actual players. Austin Eckler, definitely going ahead of him, right? Christian McCaffrey, definitely going ahead of him. Saquon Barkley, definitely going ahead of him. Derrick Henry, definitely going ahead of him, right?
I think I'd go ETN, but
you'd go ETN over Henry?
Yeah, just, you know me. I'm the type of, I've been out on Henry.
Because you know me.
You know me. I like to try to get out a year early before a year too late. And I'd rather take the guy.
You've been saying that for a few years on there.
I know. I was just about to say I've been wrong the past 2 years about Henry, but one of these years I'm going to be right, and it's going to be next year. It's close. It's a toss-up for me.
What about Josh Jacobs?
I think it really just depends on where he winds up, but I think if I was on the clock right now, I think I'd still go ETN.
Okay, so maybe he is up there. Ramondre Stevenson or Travis Etienne?
ETN.
ETN for you as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe, I mean, that puts him up there in the conversation. There were only, 3 or 4 names that I said for sure would go over him. Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, and then it seemed like there were no other full agreements on other names that went ahead of him. Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook.
Cook will probably go ahead of him.
Yeah, I'd probably go Cook. That's right around the range, though. So probably mid to late second round.
Did you say Saquon?
What did you say?
Did you say Saquon?
I did say Saquon Barkley.
Okay. And Josh Jacobs?
I asked Josh Jacobs, and Jay said no. What about you?
I don't know. I feel like that's where the line is. I think I might go Jacobs. It might depend on what decisions they make on that offense next year.
If he's back on that offense, he could be somewhere else. He's a free agent. So,
yeah, they didn't pick up that 5th-year option for him, so he is a free agent. The point of that exercise, whether we would take Jacobs over him or not, I'm seeing Travis Etienne definitely a top 10 back next year, and likely closer to that top 5 range where he's going to get drafted. In that like 6 to 10 range is probably where we're going to see him go.
Right.
Mr. Scampers wanted to know Najee Harris or Travis Etienne.
That's a good one. That is a good one we did not bring up. Oh, I don't know. I honestly have no idea which one. They're in the same tier.
I flip a coin. Yeah, I think that's right where you're looking at. Najee started off slow, but has come on strong here lately. Another year for the Steelers to improve their offensive line. Kenny Pickett looked pretty decent last night. So, God, that is tough. It's coin toss.
Give me Travis Etienne with no Jaylen Warren knocking on the window down there in Jacksonville.
Ooh-wee. Little guy, Jaylen Warren.
They like Jaylen Warren there in Pittsburgh, and I don't blame them. Even last night, some of the plays he was making, it's fun to watch Jaylen Warren play. So I think he'll get more involved. Not that Najee's going to take any sort of back seat, but they got 2 great backs there. And there was one announcer that said it that it just sticks with me. Like, Najee Harris is a big back that plays like he's 120 pounds, and Jaylen Warren is a little back who plays like he's 250. So they've got the flip flop there where they got this big old back in Najee Harris who runs around like he's one of those lightweight guys, a Darren Sproles, and then you've got Jaylen Warren, this little guy who powers through like he's 250 pounds.
Yeah, he does. It's so fun to watch him play.
That's the tiebreaker between Etienne and Najee Harris for me, because I agree they are in the same tier. I'm a lot more comfortable with the position Etienne's in. Maybe that changes this offseason. They add some more depth there, but right now I'm not too scared off by the other pieces there. I don't think Snoop Connor is going to steal a ton of work from Travis Etienne next season. He's got a good name. I wish he was better, because ituld be a lot of fun to have to say Snoop Connor all the time. But unfortunately, we don't really have to say it. I wish he was better. Sorry, Snoop just catching some serious strays this morning. Snoop, I wish you nothing but the best. It's a sweet name.
I wish he was better.
What's true?
He came up with a name.
With a name like that, you got to be the best so I can say your name all the time. It's like a guy I went to wrestling camp with was named Storm Nelson, and I've heard nothing from him. I'm nothing but disappointed in Storm, because with that name, I should have seen your name on TV by now. Storm, what are you doing?
Come on, Storm.
Storm Nelson. That's a fake name.
Everybody's going to go look him up on LinkedIn and send him a message.
What are you doing,
Storm Nelson? Yeah. Mr. Scamper is going to go on LinkedIn and just be like, "You're a disappointment to Storm Nelson."
Storm, you disappointed Simon, the guy who went to wrestling camp once in 2010.
R.I.P. Storm.
There's probably enough fictional characters named Storm Nelson that he's not going to be that easy to find.
You'd think.
It's a pretty fantastic name. There's definitely some professional wrestlers out there with that name. No question.
Storm Nelson. Remind me not to do that again until
that's the sound of a storm.
Is that the sound of a storm, Joe?
Yeah. That a storm of the cold?
That's a storm.
Guys, let's hit another one of these big games this weekend. One that I thought was going to be a shootout ended up not being so. It was just a shootout on one side. The Detroit Lions beat the Chicago Bears 41-10. And Jamal Williams had himself a day. We've talked a lot about him, but not so much from the football sense today. But he had 22 carries, 144 yards, and a rushing touchdown. Added one catch through the air for 13 yards. But when we're looking at this Detroit Lions offense going into next season, it was one of the best offenses in the NFL this year. We're going into next year. Maybe their defense is better, so maybe it caps some of the upside or the having to score a lot of points that this Detroit Lions team has done this year. But John Luke, do you think this offense stays similarly high-powered, and are you excited for multiple running backs in this Detroit Lions offense for next season?
Yeah, I think this offense relatively does stay high-powered. They are in a really good position. They got some draft picks this year. This O-line is starting to come together. And I think once they get a couple of wide receivers in the mix with Amon-Ra St. Brown, it seems going to look really good. So I'm with it.
You mean maybe like Jamison Williams with a full off season to practice with the team?
Exactly what I'm thinking, Simon.
Because they got him. I don't even think they need to add anyone else. They got Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's going to be hot next year.
Maybe a tight end now.
Yeah, since they got rid of.
Did they really need it? The last 5 passing touchdowns for the Lions have been caught by a tight end.
Rock right.
Because I really needed Amon-Ra St. Brown, but that did not happen, unfortunately. But no, I'm with you. It was nice to see Jamo get involved. It's another season to get healthy, and I think this offense is going to be pretty nasty next year.
Did you say Jamo?
Jamo, that's his name, nickname, Jamo.
Is Jamo how you pronounce it, not Jama? It's Jameson. His name is Jameson, not Jamison.
I call him Jamo. Potato, Jamo, Jamo.
I was going to move past it, but then I was like, Jamo, like maybe that's right. And if he said
it real weird too.
I stand to be corrected if it is pronounced Jamo, but his name is not Jamison Williams. It is Jameson Williams.
Have you asked him if his name is not Jamison Williams?
No,
Jamison.
I have a cousin named Jameson who goes by Jamo.
I read it as Jamo, okay? It doesn't mean
I read it.
Well, you
Jay's going to have a Fanta with Jamo Williams.
I don't drink Fanta. It's
Jamo.
No, I know you don't drink Fanta. You drink Fanta. We already.
I honestly had no idea which player he was talking about when he said that. So.
Is it really Jamo?
It's a Jamo.
Tommy said, "Does he wear pajamas?"
Pajamas.
He wears pajamas.
No,
he should come up with a.
That's a whole clothing line you can sell now.
Pajamas.
Pajamas.
All he has to do is go by Jama for the rest of his life now.
Jameis Winston Jabo, isn't that his nickname or something like that? I think that's where I got it in my head.
They call him old crab legs.
Well, that's one of his many.
The most unfair nickname in the league. You guys know my stance on the Jameson crab legs.
Yes, and I think it's legitimate, Simon. You've completely changed my mind on it.
I think you're right.
I'm not out here in support of Jameis Winston. He's done plenty of other things that you don't support, but the crab legs one incorrectly pinned on him. I will defend him for that one. And Tommy said, with or without feet for the pajamas.
What?
Like pajamas. Like he's asking, is it a onesie or not?
Oh,
it's just 1 foot. It's just 1 foot.
You got to keep the feet free, man. It's way too hot in those things already.
Yeah, I'm all about a onesie as long as it doesn't have the feet attached. And then even then, I take it back. I'm not all about a onesie because it's too hot anyways.
I was about to
change my mind immediately on what I said.
Nope.
I remember one time I went to a onesie bar crawl, and that was the most awful experience.
That sounds terrible.
You got a story for everything.
Until I took the onesie off and tied it around my waist, I was just sweating bullets, drinking beer in the sun in a onesie for like 3 hours.
Were you wearing nothing under it, like the nightgown?
No, I came prepared, knowing that there was a chance I was going to have to take that off.
I went there too, JL. I just imagine Simon like bare chested with a onesie tied around his waist, sitting there drinking beer in the hot sun, just sweating. I might have to save that in the old noggin.
It's formal wear. Now on this Detroit Lions team, we talked a bit about these running backs. Jamal Williams, I fully expect to be moved up to like that Tony Pollard tier from this past year, not where Tony Pollard's going to be next year, but where he was this last year, of like these backup running backs that have standalone value that you can draft in the 6th, 7th, 8th rounds and get production from on your team. Like these high upside backup running backs with standalone value. Like I think we see him jump ahead of like that tier of pure backups, like the Alexander Madisons. And we'll see him a tier above those players next year.
I could see that, Simon. I could definitely see that.
Where do you guys think he gets drafted next year?
I think wherever it is, I think he's going to go too high. I like him, but he's been so dependent on those touchdowns. With DeAndre Swift hopefully healthy next year, just don't know if I can see him repeating that.
I'll be interested to see if the broader community actually starts to believe that, because he feels like the type of player that people aren't going to get bought into. They're going to see this and they're not going to trust it. And we see it go either way with a lot of these players, where they either trust for too long or they don't trust long enough.
No. Who do you think gets drafted earlier next year, A.J. Dillon or Jamal Williams? because A.J. Dillon was that player last year, the backup that has a role, a standalone role. And if Aaron Jones goes down, he's going to be the guy. And now disappointed this year. Now we've got Jamal Williams probably in a similar situation. Higher upside we've seen with the touchdown upside here. But do you think A.J. Dillon, after this disappointing year, falls behind Jamal Williams? Or do you think we see A.J. Dillon still drafted ahead of him?
I still think we see A.J. Dillon drafted ahead of him.
Disagree. I think that Williams is going to go ahead of him. I think that A.J. Dillon, maybe I'm wrong with, this late season surge, but the problem is when you draft guys that high, you saw it with A.J. Dillon. He did the previous year in order to return value on that. So when you're drafting guys at your ceiling, that's when you run into issues.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, Jay. I think Jamal Williams gets drafted earlier, and I think I might, depending on how early he goes, it could be a mistake because he's going to need to return on that high touchdown total again next year to make it happen. But we've been saying it all year, he can't just keep doing it. He can't just keep getting away with these touchdowns, and he keeps on doing it. Though this week, 144 rushing yards, he didn't need that touchdown to make it a good performance. He had a pretty damn good game without it. That was his first 100-yard rushing game since week 4 or 5, something along those lines. And he got it done with DeAndre Swift getting 11 carries in that game as well. But when you go up big like that, you can just run the ball. They ran the ball 39 times.
Yeah, that's a lot.
On the other side of the ball for the Chicago Bears, Justin Fields disappointed for fantasy a bit this week. It was fine. He had 18.8 points. You're happy with it, but it wasn't that blow-up performance in the potential shootout we were hoping for. 75 passing yards, going 7 for 21, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but added 132 rushing yards on the ground. See, he gave you a fine performance, almost 20 points, and he had 75 passing yards. That's the cheat code that is Justin Fields for fantasy. How high are you drafting him next year? Where is Justin Fields in your quarterback rankings?
He's in probably just outside the top 5.
Yep, that's exactly where I was going to go. In that 5 to 7 range, especially if they're able to add another wide receiver this offseason. He's doing, doesn't even have Darnell Mooney out there, who I like. Sorry, Simon, I don't think he's a wide receiver 1. I think he'd be a better complementary piece. We see all these offenses with two top-tier wide receivers. He's more of a 1B, in my opinion. But, Justin Fields, he looked good. He did get banged up. He had to go in the blue tent. They've stopped running him as much, believe it or not, even with, the rushing production that he had. They've pulled back a little bit. These games really don't matter much, and they want to keep him healthy. So I think that, I mean, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, who are you taking?
Lamar Jackson or Justin Fields next year? I'll take Joe Burrow over Justin Fields. The question I keep asking myself is the Lamar Jackson versus Justin Fields for next year. Which way you rolling, JL?
I didn't want you to ask me that.
I know. I could see it.
I think I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson.
Jay, what about you?
I think the right answer is Justin Fields, but I still think I'm going to go Lamar Jackson as well. We've seen him do it for over a full season. I know he's been dealing with some injuries past couple years, but they're not, everybody's saying, running quarterback, they're going to get injured, but that's not what's been the case with these 2 injuries. We saw Christian McCaffrey get injured 2 years in a row with 2 things completely unrelated, and he's been fine this year. So I think Lamar Jackson's going to be fine. That might change depending if Baltimore doesn't do anything to get him some help. There's an outside shot. I mean, I'm sure he's going to get tagged either way. But he wants that big contract. If they can't come to some sort of agreement, who knows that 1% chance, maybe he's somewhere else. I don't think that's going to happen, but stranger things have happened in the NFL.
Justin Fields is currently the QB5 in 4-point per passing touchdown leagues in overall points and points per game.
That's
sitting
absurd.
there at the 5 spot, and that is without
he's missed games.
He's missed games. Well, he's played 15 games. He missed 1 game.
He has played full game. Okay.
He missed 1 full game, but even in points per game, he's sitting up there at number 5 as well, slightly ahead of Lamar Jackson. He's got 20.47 points per game. Lamar Jackson at 20.26 points per game. So you take away the missed games, they're just about equal. And I have to imagine Justin Fields is still developing as a passer. And I think that's why I'm going to take him over Lamar Jackson. In his current state, we're getting similar output just with the rushing yards he's able to put up with 130 yards, a couple good games, decent passing. But if he can figure out that next step in his game, evolve as a passer just even slightly, they get him another weapon. Oh my God, this dude has QB number 1 overall upside as early as next season. So I think I have him above Lamar Jackson for next year, but it's close. That is the line right there. Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence next year? Is it Justin Fields?
Yeah, with that rushing production, it's Fields for me.
Yeah.
It's hard though. That's a hard one. I think both of these guys are going to be drafted as like top 7 quarterbacks next year.
Let me ask you guys this. If it's 6 points per passing touchdown, does that change it for you? I
still go Justin Fields. It's still 0.1 point per rushing yard. And for a dude that can put up 130 rushing yards in a game any given week, like that's 2 touchdowns.
That puts me even more on the Lamar side in that case. But yeah, I'd still take Fields over Lawrence.
It's going to be close, though, between those guys. I'm curious to see just how high he's drafted next year. I've seen some people say their top quarterback on the board next year is going to be Justin Fields, and I don't blame them. I know Better Boss in the chat down there is saying his first pick next year is going to be either Justin Fields or Justin Jefferson. But those are his top 2 guys going into next season.
Can't argue with that. I mean,
no.
Everybody gets so stuck on consensus and preseason draft ranking and stuff like that, but look every single year. Look how the ADP started out and look how things finished. So shoot your shot. Take the guy you believe in. I believe it.
Daniel said, well, my friends, our plan of playing Stevenson and Kamara over McKinnon bit me in the ass. Need Burrow to get me 39 points tonight. Well, I'm cheering for you, man. I'm going to be cheering for Burrow. Except if Burrow gets 39 points, I need T. Higgins to get at least 34. So I will cheer for Burrow to get 39 points as long as T. Higgins gets
throwing to T the whole time.
Throwing to T the entire time. That's what I need, but I'll cheer with you, Daniel. I'm sorry, my friend, but Stevenson and Kamara were in prime spot to smash this weekend. Seemed like they were going to kill it. But fantasy sucks sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, McKinnon keeps getting those touchdowns, man.
Can you imagine you're in your championship week? You started this superstar team, and on the other side, you're looking at it. They've got Jarrett Stidham at quarterback, Jerick McKinnon and Raheem Mostert at running back, Richie James Jr. and Jalen Naylor at wide receiver. And then they've got Brock Wright at tight end. And you're like, oh, I got this. And then they just take you out with the most disrespectful roster of all time.
Yeah, I tweeted out last night. I said, somebody won a championship in Superflex starting Jarrett Stidham and Daniel Jones. And that tells you everything you need to know about fantasy football.
It's a beautiful game.
It's a beautiful game.
It's a cruel game.
And we've got one more NFL game of the fantasy football season for most of us, unless you got your Week 18 championships. So tonight, everybody, let's enjoy one more high-stakes Monday Night Football in this Bills-Bengals game. Thank you to everybody who tuned in and hung out with us this morning. We'll be back tomorrow morning and every weekday morning from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time for the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. That includes January 3rd, Tuesday, 2023, tomorrow, the date and the time. But stick around here on BSN for some more awesome programming coming up next. We got Moose and Keith, followed by Lunch Money presented by Fantasy Guru, then Corey Nando and friends right after that. Until tomorrow, we're out of here. Adios, everybody.
Bye-bye.